This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1925, Previews. Welcome to the show. I'm Adam Murdo.
I'm Ian Levinstein.
And I'm Chris Everly.
Poor Chris, not even any Migos to keep you company in quarantine.
No.
Yep. For anybody not watching the video, to peek behind the curtain, Chris is recovering from COVID this week, so he is isolated in his son's bedroom, and for that, there ain't no amigos to accompany his usual introduction.
Yes. I just had some Paxlovid to show people. I'm lucky. I'm happy. I love movies and reading, because otherwise I'd be in a sorry mental state as well.
Well, just means next comic talk you're going to have tons to talk about, and that's A-okay for me.
Stacks so high.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And welcome one and all to the show. Our first non-old guard episode of 2024. So welcome to everybody back from the new year. Hope everybody had a good one. And Murd, I hope you enjoyed your birthday.
Well, thank you. It was kind of bland, honestly.
Hey,
45 years.
That'll do. That'll do, man. That'll do. Sometimes bland is good, so that's fine by me.
Ian's is coming up, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yep. The 28th, I turned a big 4-0.
That's right.
Wow, that is a biggie.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Looking forward to it. Gonna have a bunch of friends together at Bronx Brewery, and we'll shoot the shit for a couple hours, and then maybe come back here and watch the Royal Rumble if nothing else is doing, because it's I'm celebrating it the day before my birthday on the Saturday, so I can sleep in on the Sunday and do absolutely nothing, which is 100% my plan.
You know, I'd forgotten you were a wrestling fan.
I'm a cursory wrestling fan.
Okay, but have you seen the Iron Claw?
Not yet. It is on my long list.
One of the best films of 2023, easily.
Yes, and I would put American Fiction on that list.
Haven't seen that yet. Yeah.
American Fiction is masterful, honestly.
All right.
It is my pick for Best Picture of the year, whether or not it wins it or not. For me, that was the best movie of 2023, no question.
Right, it's on my list, honey.
Yep, excellent. And you guys are on my list over at patreon.com/Comic Geek Speak, and we thank you so much for all that continued support that you
What
give.
a transition.
In the year of 2024, we continue to ask for as little as $1 a month to keep the ball rolling here. And we thank you so much for any support that you happen to give, whether it be that way, whether it be through donations via PayPal on the website, or whether it be just, telling a friend or just listening and commenting on the show. That's what matters the most. Please never give money if you are unable to do so. And just, keep loving the show, and we'll keep loving you. So thank you very much for that support over at patreon.com/Comic Geek Speak.
Keep loving the show, and we'll keep loving you. I still feel like I'm in a Burt Reynolds movie in the 70s. That was great.
Oh my God!
It's the only thing we want to do.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yep. I just watched the Offer, the making of the Godfather movie, and at the end of that, Burt Reynolds winds up showing up because they start making Longest Yard. So that was good times.
Really good show, but I want to caveat that if you talk to the actual people who were there, they say most of that show was bullshit. Actually.
Oh, absolally. Yeah.
But it's a really good show. Really good show, though.
Did get me to watch The Godfather for the very first time. Yes, that's right, for the very first time.
Wait, okay, that's a conversation for off record to talk for a long time.
Yes. We can talk about it.
What's going on? All right, we'll talk about that.
There are so many classic movies that I have not seen, my friend, and The Godfather was on that list. Now it's no longer on that list, and I'll be watching part 2 when I have 3 hours.
Right, we'll talk about this later.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right, let's head over to previews, and this month we have the Image books are available in their own as usual as previews issue 424, DC Connect issue 44, and Marvel issue 28. And there's some good books to talk about this month. So looking forward to getting into all of that as we move on here and start the screen share out for the video portion. A note, by the way, that hopefully by the time this episode is out, if not shortly thereafter, almost all of our catalog is going to be available via YouTube, as YouTube now allows RSS imports. I went ahead and imported the Libsyn feed into YouTube.
Oh, wow.
So it's still going through things, and of course there's copyright hits and stuff like that, because we never care about that when it comes to audio. So having to deal with that, but just about almost every episode, knock on wood, should be available via the YouTube platform.
That's great.
Or two. So check that out at youtube.com/comicgeekspeak. You'll have it sooner than later. All right.
That's an ace producer, folks.
It's what I do. And let's start us off here on page 4 of the Image catalog. Tony Fleeks brings us Feral, a new horror comic from the creators of Stray Dogs. And now we go in Cats with Trish Forstner on the art.
Cats and zombies.
That's the way to go. and the F poster cover, "The cats are feral," is easily my favorite of the bunch here. As is the Feral issue 1, Dawn of the Dead style one up top. But the cats are feral. That works for me. That really works.
I love the Disney-esque art on the expression of the cat on the main cover art. It's really well done.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And that's kind of their MO, especially when it came to Stray Dogs, is that it looks like it should be, a Disney style romp, and it very much is not. There's zombies, and there's violence, and there's action, and the animals still talk. That's what matters the most.
That's what matters the most.
Mm-hmm. Remember, I described the last such series from Tony Fleeks, Stray Dogs, as like Seven meets Memento meets All Dogs Go to Heaven. Well,
wow. Okay.
More of the same, but in a different vein.
Absolutely, yeah. And they have the first 5 pages of Feral in the Image catalog. So if you happen to get a hold of it in one way or the other, you'll be able to check that out. And it looks like it's going to be good stuff. So looking forward to it. All right, over to page 10, and I will also mention that I've been using a different microphone these past couple of weeks here to test it out. This Steel Series mic, and it's a little less unidirectional than my last mic was. So if you hear the hissing of the heat in the background on the recording, that's probably why. Because I'm not turning the heat off for this recording. It is frigid outside.
Oh, please don't!
Yeah,
oh my God.
No, I didn't even realize I had my heater off until yesterday when I finally turned the knob. I'm like, oh yeah, that's why it's freezing in here.
According to my phone's readout, it's 19 degrees outside in central Jersey, so I'm sure it's just as bad for you over there, Ian.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty bad.
Yeah. I turned off the heat here in the office at the Christmas barn because it's a much older heating system than what you've got, Ian. And instead of a hiss, you'd be hearing a roar.
Oh God!
In the background, so I have to make the sacrifice.
Fair enough, my friend. Fair enough. And thank you for that sacrifice, one way or the other.
If the cold gets to me, I've got my parka here. I'll just wrap myself up in it as we go.
Nice. The Last Mermaid, #1, by Derek Kirk Kim on page 10. Lone mermaid roams an endless wasteland on a quest beyond reason. To press ever onward, she must survive the interminable stretches between tiny pockets of water, roaming bands of cybernetic cannibals, and fearsome mutant beasts. What propels her forward to take such a risk? So we are really going whole hog on the Disney, but way more extreme here from Image this month, and this looks like it's going to be great, honestly.
Yeah, that cover image. If you're not looking at it, folks, we need to describe it to you. It's basically Ariel the mermaid inside of a big glass bubble, but with mechanical arms and legs attached to it. So it's like a mermaid inside of a mecha suit, striding across the land, and that's.
It's great.
It's very convincing as to how crazy fun this series could be.
Absolutely. Described as an action-adventure dystopian sci-fi comic, The Last Mermaid #1. And looking at the artwork for this, this is stunning stuff. Really, really good. So I may have to check this one out when it's available. So
Screen close-up of an axolotl there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, Rick Remender, Napalm Lullaby, #1 on page 14. Remender and Bengal on the writing and artwork chores. A all-new ongoing dystopian, there's that word again, epic with a special double-length first issue. All about a child with unimaginable power who's raised to believe he is a god by a cult of zealots utterly confident in the moral authority of their religion. The magnificent leader has imposed his will on humanity and created the ultimate theocracy. Join them or be cast out to suffer with the masses. Did somebody say Remender?
So your theme book for 2024 is right here, folks.
Oh my God! I don't think a Remender comic has ever remendered harder than the description of this from the looks of it. This is going to be something else.
Theocratic fascists? No, that's not possible. Come on.
Of course not. Loving the artwork on the next couple of pages too, with some send-ups to some Batman and Batman villains from the looks of it. Well, worth checking out.
You know, I've never read. He did the Fear Agent, didn't he?
Yes.
I've never read that. Has anybody read that book? I've never read it.
Fear Agent, I read, I think maybe like 2 or 3 issues of.
Okay.
I always meant to go back to it, and I never did.
Right.
So it's on my long list of shame.
Gotcha. We've all got those.
Exactly. Todd McFarlane with a Sam and Twitch case files.
Yeah, but he's writing it.
Yes, that's true.
Come on. Get somebody else to write it, Todd.
But it's got Simon Kudransky on the art chores, and man, is that some pretty artwork to go
Pretty
along.
art, but
Yep.
like, didn't Bendis do some great Sam and Twitch way back in the day? Am I remembering that correctly?
You may be right about that.
And I remember really enjoying those stories.
Let's see. Sam and Twitch Bendis.
Right?
Yes, you are correct. Yep.
Yeah,
that,
okay.
There's a full collection of his Sam and Twitch stuff available
That's
on Amazon. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Way back in 2006 with artwork by Alex Maleev.
That's right. Yeah, I remember really enjoying those.
Yep. But this is again McFarlane on the story and Simon Kudransky on the artwork chores, page 21. If you want some pretty artwork and some story, then you'll go ahead and check it out on page 21. All right, Under York. Did somebody say something taking place in New York? Then I guess I'm going to talk about it.
Yep.
Page.
Floor is yours, sir.
Oh yes, 6-issue miniseries Under York. Sylvain Runburn on the story. Love that name. And Mirka Andolfo on the artwork chores. New York's destiny is written in its depths. Allison Walker is a promising young painter in Manhattan, but she has a secret. She's also a witch. She and her family belong to the world of Under York, a mysterious underground New York where 5 powerful clans of witches have reigned for centuries. This is a really cool concept. Interesting. Drawn from the country's main communities, African, Irish, Chinese, Mexican, and American Indian, practice magic as powerful as it is dangerous. For generations, they've been hunted and persecuted. Today, they secretly influence life on the surface and its inhabitants. Kind of a cross between Fables and Sabrina the Teenage Witch, I feel like, with this premise. And I'm all for it. This sounds like it should be right up my alley with this 6-issue miniseries. Nice. Well-rendered characters.
It is, yeah.
Yep.
Looks great. I'm just curious, Levy Poo, because I'm always fascinated by your urban tales. How cold does your apartment building get?
Okay, so my apartment building has 2 settings, either boiling or frigid. And it's usually my bedroom that's boiling to the point where there have been times where we've had to turn the air conditioner on during the winter just to balance out the heat.
Okay.
But they actually recently installed a new valve, so we can actually turn off the heat when we need to now. So that's nice. But right now it's actually not that bad in here. It's kind of like an in-between zone. I'm
glad. I'm always thinking about you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, and after those preview pages, we get to local band Bad Girls, a local man one-shot by Tim Seeley and Tony Fleeks, and I am all for it whenever the words Tim Seeley and Tony Fleeks come to mind on page 32. Any of you who are into Local Man, this is a nice one shot in that realm of the world. So you can check it out once again on page 32.
Yep, the series has been a send up of 90s image, so it's the Bad Girls notion had to come up sooner or later. So
absolutely the case. Yep, and it sure as hell looks 90s image as heck with those costumes. My God.
I admitted one of my more weakened because the new Astro City Metro book is out.
Yep.
I'm ordering all of these because it's collecting the entire universe in a series of larger, beautifully packaged trade paperbacks. Again, broken record, but one of the most important superhero comics I'd say of the last 30 years.
Absolutely.
Would you agree?
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yes, without question.
Yep. Yeah, very few people understand the genre of superhero better than Kurt Busiek, and
Absolutely, yeah.
when given free reign to do what he wants with characters that he created, you can't get any better than that. So.
Beautiful interior artwork by the great master Brent Eric Anderson, and of course every issue has an Alex Ross cover.
Yep.
So
with some stuff in there by Jesus Marino as well, and Joe Infernari. So this collects 11 through 16, 18 through 21, and 25 through 34 of the original Astro City series. And check that out on page 33. Then a Creepshow volume with a bunch of stuff from Garth Ennis, Phil Hester, Dan Waters, Nick Dragotta, Tim Daniel, Saladin Ahmed, and tons of others on the artwork chores. You got Becky Coonan, Hester again, Abigail Larson. So any fan of horror, you are well worth checking out Creepshow Volume 2 on page 30.
Becky Coonan is a great artist.
Oh, no question. Absolutely. Descender Compendium. All 32 issues of Descender here by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen on page 35. This had major critical acclaim and is an Eisner Award winner. And now here all 32 issues of it in one trade paperback form. Going price of $50 before discount, and that's not bad. That's not bad at all for that amount of pages. 736 pages in full color, and obviously you'll get discounts on Amazon or in-stock trades or wherever you happen to look for it. So do look for it when it's available.
I'm going to pick this up because I've heard about this, but I've never read it. So this is a great opportunity.
Yep, I have the first volume that I read through and really enjoyed. So I may just get rid of that first volume and get the compendium because that may make a lot more sense. But do check that out on page 35. All 32 issues there of the Descender compendium. More Tim Seeley, Hack Slash Deluxe, page 36. Any of you Hack Slash fans, you get 1 through 11 of Hack Slash Volume 2, as well as the Hatchet Slash crossover, the Murder Messiah Annual, and the Zombies versus Cheerleaders crossover. Yes, please. Page 36 for that stuff. And a new edition of Invincible Volume 3 for anybody looking to get Invincible in small trade paperbacks. This is just issues 14 through 19 with a new cover. That's on sale March 6th and available on page 37. And then on page 38, you get the Art of Invincible Season 1. So an excellent art book here by Mark Sumerak and Robert Kirkman on story with artwork by Corey Walker, Du Hong, Nate Bellegarde, and various others. All the behind-the-scenes work on this Invincible animated series available in an art book on page 38. So well worth checking out if you're a fan of the series. Sex Criminals, the Complete Edition. Issues 1 through 30 and number 69.
Let me pause you for a moment here. I lost track. Did this series end?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. For whatever reason, I lost my track of it. I never finished it.
It went away for a while, Chris, and then
Okay.
it came back just basically to end.
Yep. Yeah.
I loved it initially. The initial however many arcs there were was wonderful.
Yep. It finally reached its climax, Chris.
All right. It came back for about, I forget whether it was a 6-issue run or a 12-issue run that finished it out with that issue 69 that they just jumped to for the final issue, because obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
But for every 5 copies of Sex Criminal, the complete edition trade paperback ordered, stores may order a bundle of 5 book plates signed by Chip Zdarsky and Matt Fraction at a net cost of $3 a piece. So that's for the stores out there who may happen to be listening to this. If you want to get some book plates, buy some Sex Criminals complete editions and make it happen. But this is 824 pages, even more, for the same price as the 700 some odd one that I just listed before, of $50, available on page 42.
I'll be ordering this as well, and this is an essential book for my library.
Absolutely. Yep.
I just noticed the pull quote on the front cover. Hey, with this thing, you're putting food on your family's table. There's no shame in that. Matt's dad.
So good, so good. Somewhere in my collection, I still have the cover that Katie Cook did for an issue of Sex Criminals.
Right.
Oh my God.
Encased
very
in like
heroic
opaque
American
pink
working
plastic
class
because
book.
it was adult content by Katie.
Yes.
Yeah, I have that same thing in my to-be-read pile somewhere. Ian.
Lovely, lovely. Yep. Something epic, yeah. As you were saying there, Chris, this looks like something epic. First 7 issues of that, volume 1, by Simon Kodransky. The talk about pull quotes, breathtaking book that holds one of the most powerful messages for humanity. CER. If you're a fan of strange stories and emotionally laced adventures, this is a comic you're not going to want to miss. Comiccon.com says 10 out of 10. It's immediately that gets me intrigued and interested. And this is that first volume collecting the first 7 issues on page 43. All right, moving down to the ongoings. Let's see if anything of note catches our eye here. Most things are mid-adventure. I'll mention Dark Ride by Joshua Williamson, the series finale, available on page 52 for you to check out. Andre Bresson and Adriano Lucas put out the final issue of Dark Ride, which means the final volume of Dark Ride will be available sooner than later. And you gotta love cover D with their Toy Story send-up. Was not expecting that from this series, and lo and behold, they made it happen. Page 52. Issue 4 or 5 of the Duke miniseries that Joshua Williamson's working on.
I have one right here, so I'll probably read it in the next couple days.
Nice. And then Dutch 2 of 3 by Joe Casey and Simon Gain on 54.
Yep, another 90s pastiche there.
This current G.I. Joe is outstanding. It's like going home again to the Marvel stuff.
Yep.
It's really good. I've read the first 2.
Issue 305, available on page 56. Don Marino, Betrayed?
The Mooneyham art on that book is sensational. Oof.
That's what I like to hear. As Shane said, you want good artwork to go along with the Larry Hama story. And
yep, well, you got it here.
Yep. Issue 12 of I Hate Fairyland, 3 Billy Goats, Gert. What happens when 3 hungry goats try to cross a troll's bridge? Find that out on Scotty Young's I Hate Fairyland, issue 12 on page 59. And then issue 39 of Ice Cream Man on page 60.
Favorite of Merds.
Yes, it is. Yes, very intelligently written horror comics. Peter was just saying in our last, old folks episode about how it's hard to write horror comics because you don't have the benefit of music or any other little cinematic tricks. It's just static images. But this series proves that it can be done by creators. I mean, not that there hasn't been ample other evidence of effective horror comics in the past, but this one is just. They keep coming up with new, clever ways to tell horror stories in comics, too. Like the issue number 39 says it's a part 1 of a 2-parter, either one of which can be skipped. You can read either or both, and, get a self-contained story out of it.
Interesting. Very interesting. Similar to the way that, like an anthology, even though it's a 2-parter. So nicely done. I appreciate that. All right. Love Everlasting, Tom King's Just West of Love, Part 3, available on page 66. Monstrous hits issue 50 on page 68.
Great series. I'm way behind on it, but...
Same here. Micah must confront the mysterious Wave Court while Master Ren navigates the politics of the cat world in a time of shifting allegiances and unexpected devastation. Page 68. New Burn.
Great book.
Series finale. So, yep.
I love when these series have endings. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Yep.
A couple trades on my shelf, it's done. Wonderful. Integrity is maintained.
We will have that final trade a coming, definitely, as 16th issue of New Burn by Zdarsky and Amy Chase with artwork by Jacob Phillips and Fabian Wheeley, page 70. Also, the series finale, the 10th issue of Kyle Higgins' No/1, a massive verse tie-in available for you on page 72 for anybody who is following that or waiting to follow it. Kyle Higgins and Brian Bucoletto. Full 10 issues will be available shortly.
Is there saga? Is there saga? Nope. Okay.
Nope. No saga for us. We are yet again on hiatus, but the end of a story arc, Transformers number 6, and somehow I don't think Optimus Prime is dead. I don't. If they pulled that 6 issues into the Transformers series, that would be something else, you know? Give us Rodimus Prime this early? Like, nah, come on.
Exactly. He wouldn't dare.
Yeah.
Would he?
I mean, maybe. We'll find out soon enough. Dan Warren Johnson, let us know with this 6th issue on page 82. All right, and that is about it for Image. So onward we go to the main previews catalog. For those of you who were following along last previews, we did do the free comic book day stuff, so I am going to skip that this time around. However, if you haven't made your orders for free comic book day with your local comic shop or DCBS or what have you, you may want to get on that as the orders are starting to come in for free comic book day, which will be on May 4th as usual, 2024. So do check that out when you have the opportunity to do
now,
so.
traditionally, could you try to coincide that with a movie release? Is that Deadpool's weekend?
That's a good question, considering how few comic book movies there are this year. I was going to say this upcoming year. No, it's this year now. Let's Deadpool 3. That is scheduled to come out in July.
Oh, okay.
So, let me see what is set to come out in general the weekend of May 20 of May 4th, if there's anything worth a damn. Looking at it here, okay, maybe they did move it up, because I'm seeing conflicting reports. So if they did move it up, then so be it. The Wikipedia will be a good way to put it. No, it was originally going to be on that weekend, and they moved it back.
Gotcha.
Yep. So I don't believe we're getting any sort of big superhero release for May this time around. So instead, instead you can go see Furiosa, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So that's fine by me. Looking forward to that Furiosa movie. As long as George Miller is allowed to make movies, aka as long as he's still alive, then I'm going to be a happy man, as I love me a good George Miller. All right, page 48, I Heart Skull Crusher, number 1 of 5, Josie Campbell with Alessio Zano on the artwork chores. And as usual with this section, I'm going to have to zoom in because their text is impossible to read. 18-year-old Trini will do anything to compete in her favorite sport, screaming paintball, alongside her longtime hero, Skull Crusher. But she can't do it alone, and a gaggle of misfits is just what she needs to cross the American wastes and battle in Queen Mob's deadly tournament. Post-apocalyptic mayhem from screenwriter and breakout DC star Josie Campbell. This looks like a lot of fun. I Heart Skull Crusher number 1.
And speaking of stories that combine Don Bluth-style animated cute animals with various popular genres of violent adventure fiction, we've got Man's Best, 5-issue miniseries Reminds you a little bit of We Three from Grant Morrison. It's about three emotional support animals on board a space cruiser scouting for new habitats for humankind out in space. The cruiser crashes, the human crew is captured by hostile aliens, and so two dogs and a cat have to don, mecha suits and go out and try to rescue their human friends. It's written by Pornsak Pitchetsot, who gave us The Good Asian from Image not too long ago, and the art is by Jesse Lonergan.
Excellent. Yeah, and the artwork is great, by the way. Just even taking a look at it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good Asian was an excellent noir. Wow, look at that.
Oh yeah, and
I can see the Don Bluth influence you mentioned there, Murd. Oh yeah,
absolutely. And the preview page is on page 52. Just saying.
You can never resist.
It's hard.
Nor should he, Chris. Nor should he.
Exactly. Yeah, no, every bit of preview page is on here. Like, this looks like it's going to be a great story. Excellent. All right. Nomads, the Sky Kingdom, Book 1 by Captain Juter. That is the name of this writer, Captain Juter. I'm fine by that. Popular webtoon original finally arrives to print. As all about Lance, who never wanted to be a nomad, but on his 19th birthday, he left his homeland in the Sea Kingdom behind while searching for his brother in the Sky Kingdom. However, things take an unexpected turn when he meets the mysterious Satra and the magical cat Saber, who imbues Lance with supernatural powers. So this is kind of sounds a little bit like Avatar: The Last Airbender with an even more anime bent to it. And it's
you're an Airbender fan, aren't you?
I am indeed. Yep. And this looks like it's right up my alley. Just even taking a look at it. Has a very stylized manga influence, to say the least. And liking the general look of the colors. It's got a lot of depth to it, especially for something that initially was a webcomic. Not saying that in a negative way. It's just that it looks like there's actual page layouts going on here as opposed to panel by panel, and I appreciate that. But yeah, this is well worth checking out if you're into that sort of genre there. Nomads, the Sky Kingdom, Book 1 on page 56.
No one enunciates the phrase, I appreciate that better than you, Levy Poo, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And then Dune has a new 8-issue miniseries, House Carino, written by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson.
When's that movie coming out, the sequel?
That is this year.
Because that got pushed too, didn't it?
Yes, it did get pushed because it would have come out already in its original release date. But the new Dune comes out on March 1st, actually.
Yeah, I enjoyed the first part quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. Everything that this trailer that I've seen for the trailers for this new Dune, it looks like it's going to be right up my alley. And this one is on page 60 and get a little bit more behind the scenes of a prequel in the House trilogy of Dune. New Berserker Keanu Reeves book. This is the pen and ink version of Poetry of Madness, available on page 64. So the black and whites, they're there for you.
Power Rangers, honey, or Power Rangers.
Oh yes, indeed. Yep. And these are the new collections. This is the deluxe edition of Book 2 available for everybody. Back when Ryan Parrott and Dan Mora was still on the art and writing chores, on page 71. But this catches my eye. Sirens of the City by Joanne Starrer with Kari Randolph on the illustrations. Big Kari.
That 80s look. Wow.
Oh, it's beautiful. Runaway teen Layla struggles to survive in the mean streets of the 80s New York City, far from home. But now every supernatural creature from the darkest corners of the urban grime is after Layla, and the fetus with great power she never wanted growing inside her. Being a siren also comes with its share of power, and Layla wouldn't dare let that go to waste. This is the first 6 issues of Sirens of the City, available in collection on page 72. Alice Never After by Dan Panosian and Giorgio Spalletta, available on page 73, collects the first 5 issues of that. And I think that's all for Boom, as the rest are all ongoing collections. So let's touch on Dynamite real quick, and then we'll head over to DC. As Dynamite,
Captain.
Dynamite, I believe, is mostly mid storyline, but I will once again bring up Lilo and Stitch, issue 3. Greg Pak. Lilo and Stitch are on an adventure, and it's always going to be fun. page 93. The cluster sovereign they're dealing with, and it's super smart robots. You know, there's a Dynamite just put out a Kickstarter for Gargoyles, where they're collecting all of the Disney Adventures and I think even the Marvel Gargoyles comics in one collection for $30, I believe it is, on Kickstarter that I funded. So glad to see those in print. And Gargoyles Quest issue 3 continues here on page 95.
Forgive my naivete here. So, who owns Gargoyles right now? Who has the
Gargoyles is still owned by Disney.
Okay, so why would they have to do a Kickstarter to make this collection?
I believe
just to gauge the public's interest.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is, Murd.
Okay.
And it's not the first time that something like this has happened with a property, even though it's owned by a larger company. They have to prove that there's a reason for them to move forward and actually, make more of this stuff.
Gotcha.
So that's definitely what's happening here. But it's also a 30th anniversary project for the Gargoyles. So I think that's part of it, is to put these really pretty suitcase editions of Gargoyles comics available for everybody. And it is so far past its initial goal, it is ridiculous. The pledge was $50,000. It is currently at $216,692.
Think you can get your book, honey?
I am getting my book. Yes, definitely. So 3 volumes, 4 unique editions, collecting, as I said, those early books that have been out of print for quite some time, as well as the SLG stuff, and modern day Gargoyles thrown in there for good measure. All right. Another great Justice for All, Darkwing Duck, Justice Ducks cover on page 98. And then on page 99, issue 4's cover is even better. Shh.
Let's say it appropriately. Justice Ducks. Okay.
Yes, indeed. Love that Maleficent cover as well on page 100. Negaduck is up to issue 7 on page 102. I think that's about it, because everything else is sort of mid on Dynamite, although if anything else pops up... you know what? Why not? Let's mention issue 3 of James Bond 007. Look at that cover. Man,
I'm so I haven't gotten issue 1 yet. I cannot wait to read Innes's take on James Bond. And that is a great cover, yes.
Yep. Page 117 for that. Yep.
Sorry. Go back to that Army of Darkness cover where he's being dismembered as he's running.
Yes, of course.
See that? It's just hilarious.
Beautiful. Army of Darkness Forever, number 6 by Tony Fleeks once again, with Justin Greenwood. Yes, that cover is amazing.
Cover B.
Oh, it's Arthur Soydam, the Marvel Zombies guy.
Yes.
That explains a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Still glad I got to see the Evil Dead the musical when it was showing in Jersey a couple of months back. That was a good time. Still have the stains on my shirt to prove it.
You left so many openings that I'm just too sick to take them right now.
You do you on that, my friend. I'm talking about fake blood here.
Okay.
By all means, whatever you feel like thinking about, you just think about.
I'm still struggling with you. Went 40 years the first time you saw The Godfather. Holy mackerel! Can't wait to talk about that with you.
I'm 45 and I've still never seen The Godfather.
I'm not surprised you haven't seen it, Murray. It's usually not your kind of thing, but
exactly.
But we'll talk about it, Ian.
Eventually, they made an offer that I couldn't refuse. What can I say?
My God! What are we, an hour in? Took you that long to do a Borscht Belt? I'm so impressed.
Well, let's just focus on Batman 145.
All right.
Yep. Following the Joker Year 1 stunning reveals, Batman must engineer an escape from Zur's prison. But what dark secret does Zur now hold? That's a game changer for the Dark Knight and the entire DC universe. We will find that out on page 1 here. Batman 145. God, Zdarsky does just
Yes, he does.
does no wrong. He really does. Suicide Squad Dream Team #1. On this is this movie universe? Oh, you know what? This is probably a tie-in to the video game, I'm guessing.
Well, the solicit copy mentions the recent Titans Beast World crossover, so it's definitely in the main continuity.
Okay, got it. Okay. The only reason I thought that is that looked a little bit way too much like Margot Robbie up there for Harley Quinn.
Well, it doesn't need to tie into the movies for them to draw Harley to look like that.
100% the case, Murd. 100%
Isn't Lady Gaga going to play her in the new Joker film?
Yes, she is.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
That's well cast.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a musical.
Oh, wow.
Oh, sure.
Same director?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right.
That is set for release on October 4th. Todd Phillips returns, and it's Joker. Pardon my French here, quite literally, but it's Joker Folie à deux. So second folly, from the sounds of it, or second joke. But this is so Suicide Squad Dream Team #1. Amanda Waller makes her move to seize ultimate power in the DCU. Nothing will stand in her way, not even the future. Spinning out of the events of Titans Beast World comes the story of Dreamer, the precog Dreamwalker, who's run afoul of the most power-hungry villain in DCU history. With a superpowered hero who can see the future on her side, is Waller's Suicide Squad finally unstoppable? Suicide Squad consists of Harley Quinn, Bizarro, Clock King, Black Alice, and Deadeye.
Clock King.
Yes, I mean it looks like it's more the Temple Fugate animated series version as opposed to the William Tachman Injustice League version, but whatever.
Yep.
Both good characters, and of course Bizarro's. If Bizarro's in, me am out.
and throwing Black Alice in there for good measure. Black Alice from Gail Simone's Secret Six run.
Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey. I'm sorry. Yes, Birds of Prey. You are correct. And she was fantastic in that. Yeah, this might be worth checking out. Nicole Maines is the writer behind it. Eddie Barrows and Eber Ferreira on the artwork chores. Suicide Squad Dream Team #1, and for that matter, bringing Dreamer in from the Supergirl series as a main. I know she's been in the DC comic book universe for a little while now, but now she's getting a further footing in there. How do you like that Bizarro design?
I've seen worse.
Yeah. It's a little hulky for my liking.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Although the Clock King, that's a nice touch. That I dig.
It's definitely the Tim character design from the animated series.
No question. Yep. Page
This is
4.
interesting.
Yeah.
Page 4, we see a crossover between Batman and Italian detective comics. You see this this private eye character, Dylan Dog. I remember back in the 90s, Dark Horse brought some Dylan Dog comics and also some Nathan Never comics over from Italy. And now we have a crossover here written by Roberto Recchioni with art by Gigi Cavanago and Verte Deledra. Sorry. Crossing over Batman with this classic Italian detective adventure character versus a team up of the Joker and Dylan Dog's archenemy, Professor Zabaras.
Interesting.
You know, Murd, if you ever a diplomatic incident on the show, I'm glad you're here as our translator and interpreter.
Yes.
I do what I can, Chris, which is not always quite enough. But
More than most, my friend.
The character design of Dylan Dog actually reminds me more of Spike Spiegel than I was surprised. Very, very much the same style of, coat and jacket, and even the hair is reminiscent to Spike. And
it reminds me of Chaikin art.
That too. Yep. Well, yeah, dude, awesome crossover here on page 4. So any fans of Dylan Dog, do check that out. And the artwork on the following pages is excellent.
Yes, it is.
And here's something I think we're all excited for.
This is the book of its catalog, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Batman Dark Age, page 6.
So listeners may recall that we were raving about Superman Space Age, which finish last year, I want to say, as a miniseries.
Mhm.
Yes.
And we all of us who read it loved it, and we talked about it at length on the show. But this is the creators of Russell and all were now doing their version of Batman in this world, I suppose. But what's great is, like the Superman book, it's gonna move with historical events, so Batman will age. And if anything close to what they did with Superman, I'm waiting for this with bated breath.
Oh yeah. Yep. This looks fantastic. The art looks fantastic. It's right up my alley.
It's right up the alley of all three of us.
Page 6 for that, and the
Look at the iconic little Bruce falling into the cave. Oh,
oh my god. Yep. Something else indeed. And then Batman and Robin issue 7, interrupted by the return of Flatline, Damien's crush from the Lazarus tournament. So more
I'm sure it was a healthy crush too. If it was in the Lazarus tournament.
oh, absolutely. Page 8 for that. Josh Williamson on the writing, and Simone DeMeo on the artwork chores. Eulogy of Sand continues, and Elegy of Sand, that is, and Batman May Never Be the Same, Detective Comics 1083, Ram V, continuing his run there. And then, as usual, excellent cover for Nightwing 112.
Let me comment though. I mean, and again, everything about Nightwing makes it for me still one of the best monthly books being produced. And in no way is this a shot at the artist, but I wish Redondo would do more interiors in this book. Because I think he's one of the most exciting pencilers in comics right now, and his covers are proof of that. And of course, he did several Nightwing issues,
Absolutely.
Taylor run, but I don't think he's done interiors in the book now since that massive one they did where everything was from Nightwing's perspective, which was amazing. So
Yep.
I just again, as a fan, I just love to see more of his pencils inside the book.
Oh, absolutely. 100% agreed on that. Yeah. But Sammy Basri is the main art chores on this. And then there's a backup by Michael Conrad and Francesco Francavilla, which is no slouch, to say the least, on page 9.
Yeah, and that backup apparently is talking about the origins of Dick's family, the origins of the Grayson name 700 years ago during the plague. That's, wow.
Yeah. I'm down for that.
Yeah, great bit of historical fiction there.
I like this cover in Birds of Prey #7.
Very nice. Loving the design on the Batgirl costume there too. It's had a couple of changes over the past couple of years, and it's kind of like the perfect meshing of her more streetwear and the classic costume combined into one. Yep.
It's Leonardo Fernandez art and cover.
Birds of Prey issue 7 there. Kelly Thompson continuing her run, and I'm really digging that Birds of Prey series so far on page 10. Then one word, Nocturne, for Outsiders issue 5, also on page 10. The world is dying. Welcome to the funeral. Catwoman, excellent cover there. David Nakamaya.
In her 90s costume.
Catwoman 63, and then on that same page, Penguin #8. The Penguin makes his move. Tom King continuing his Penguin story on page 11. Oversized anniversary issue, Batman Super World's Finest, hits its 25th. With artwork by Dan Mora and Steve Pugh.
As that creative team tells us, it is a definitive origin tale for the Luthor-Joker partnership.
Wow.
Man, can't wait. And spinning out of the events of World's Finest Annual, Doom Might strikes. Points the way to the next World's Finest epic. Epic indeed.
If it's might and or imp oriented, I am all in.
You better believe it, baby.
So, Chris Murrin, if you're listening, prick up your ears.
Trickster figures.
100%, Chris.
Page 14 for that, and congratulations on 25 issues of one of the best comics on the stands.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a Shatner cover.
Oh, God.
Dan Mora drew a frickin' Shatner cover. Page 15. Fantastic.
What's amazing, because Shatner's in his 90s now.
Yeah.
And I heard an interview with him not too long ago. He's just relentless, and he still makes every effort to work and promote and sell everything you can possibly imagine. It's amazing.
Was it the Marin interview? Because
The Marin
that's
interview. Yep. Yep.
classic.
The lock she had, like,
Oh my God.
so good.
Yep. Meanwhile, the finale of I, Bizarro Me Bizarro, that is, by Jason Aaron and John Timms.
Yeah, pronoun usage is a sticking point for me on that, but that's a topic for another time.
Well, 1063 finishes that one up, making the most shocking team up ever as part of the mind-blowing final battle against the ultimate Bizarro. And then Man of Steel teams with Lex Luthor against the Lex Luthor Revenge Squad in Superman number 12. Oh my God! Look at that wraparound variant cover right there. Oh,
yeah, it's amazing. I want to point out that I haven't read a Superman title consistently in years.
Mm-hmm.
This title, when I get my shipment, it's one of the first books I read every month now. It's that good.
Yeah, it's excellent.
I'm thoroughly enjoying this, and the whole conceit of it that Lex Luthor, we're not sure of his motives yet, is now having Superman run his company for him to, quote, do good.
Yep.
It's a fantastic plot device.
It really is. So. Yep. Well, I mean, and it's a weird kismet, by the way. I know that this was not intentional, but the fact that over at Marvel, Spider-Man's working for Norman Osborn.
That's true. Yeah.
And over at DC, Superman's working for Lex Luthor. I mean, you can't write this stuff. It just happens sometimes.
Well, think about Man-Thing and Swamp Thing.
Very true. Very true. Well, they were also roommates, the creators, so there's that.
All right, even though that's a good point, honey, we'll never know for sure. But even though I'm sick, I have to utter it. Needle before Zod. Thank you.
Oh, by all means, I would never take that away from you.
Yeah, I'm a small petty man. Thank you. Pleasure's a few.
Page 18 for that one. Joe Casey and Dan McDade finishing up their Zod story.
We've talked about it, but at some point we do have to do, because it's going to be so much fun, a double Superman 2 retro review of both versions of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be immensely entertaining.
Agreed entirely.
A theatrical and Donner cut?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. The Flash number 7, Simon Spurrier, art and cover by Ramon Perez.
Great cover.
Oh, beautiful cover. Jay West is going to try to rescue Max Mercury from the horrific remains of Time Point. I'm just glad that all the Flashes are canon again. That Max is around, that Wally's around, that Wally's kids are around, Barry's around. Like, just keep that legacy coming, and I am A-okay with that. Page 19 for that. Oof. Oh. Wow, that cover.
This is the Tom King one. I've read the first 2 issues. It's outstanding so far. They're really challenging Diana's place in the world of mortals, essentially. It's really good.
Yep.
I think Golden Eagle is underestimating the appeal of this series, because the last 2 issues have sold out before I can get to the comic shop, a half hour after it opens.
Oh, jeez.
So Scott needs to order more copies. But anyway, issue number 7 here on page 20 is what I assume is a standalone issue after the first 6-issue arc is concluded, featuring Superman and Wonder Woman going into outer space to find a birthday gift for Batman.
Yep. For the Batman who has everything.
That's a Tom King story. I can't wait to read it.
Watch out for Mongols.
Yep.
Beware of Mongols bearing gifts.
Very, very true on that. Page 20. And again, that Daniel Sampier cover is outstanding.
Yes, it is.
Wonderful stuff. Titans number 9. Amanda Waller. Don't mess with Waller. You gotta get burned.
The cover is just radiating meanness.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You better believe it. Yeah. Well, I actually really enjoy his rendition of Waller there. That is absolutely the way I want my Amanda Waller to look. Green Arrow number 10. Roy Harper is missing. Green Arrow and Connor Hawke investigate what happened to him and what Amanda Waller has done to the rest of the Arrow family. She's just all over the place this month. Amanda Waller month at DC. Page 22. Wesley Dodds' The Sandman, issue 6 by Vendetti.
I'll report on part of that in our next comic talk.
Yep. And Jay Garrick, The Flash, number 6 by Jeremy Adams, also on page 24, as these miniseries come to a head.
That variant cover they're showing by Murray, pronounce the name, please.
Oh, Jorge Corona?
No, the Jay Garrick, the Flash
Diego.
#6.
Yeah,
Diego Olortegui.
Oh, beautifully said, sir. Has a really nice '80s feel to it. You know what I mean? Like I like the line work on it. It's his face is so expressive. Nicely done.
Yeah. Also reminds me a little bit of Knock, honestly.
Good
Yeah.
point. Yeah, the expressions are well done.
Great cover for Justice.
That's a great cover. Wow.
Number 10. Oh, beautiful.
The old DC 100-page spectaculars of yesteryear.
Page
Good
25.
call, Murray. Good call.
Ruby's search for her father continues. Ah,
And page 26, Captain Marvel versus the Creeper, written by Wade with art by Manuela Lupacchino. You might as well just stick a label on it saying, "To Adam with love from the universe," because this is two of my favorite characters meeting each other for what may be the first time by a great creative team. I'm going to buy the heck out of this issue.
so good. So good. And then look at that cover there.
Well, Shane's gonna be salivating on this one.
Oh my
Holy
God.
mackerel.
Wow. Bull Beetle number 7. In order to get Ted Cord back on his feet, Jaime will need to work with Booster Gold. And that cover there by Adrian Gutierrez is fan-damn-tastic.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yep, you're right. They should put a label on that saying, "To Shane with love from the universe." Oh, and this next one would be to Jamie, I think.
Yes.
Number 27.
100%. Page
Just
20.
one after another here.
The April special. and the writers, John Layman, Joshua Hale Fialkov, and Gene Yang. Yes. with art by Carl Malstert, Phil Hester, and Bernard Chang? You're going to get me to read a frickin' Ape issue.
And a cover by Dan Mora. And Don't Miss the Banana Scent variant cover.
Oh,
Yes.
By Bernard Chang. It's the new character Monkey King in a Crisis number 7 parody, holding a giant banana peel draped in his arms instead of the lifeless form of Supergirl.
Superb.
Somebody has to tell Peter that he needs to buy that cover of that issue.
Yeah.
We can work this into one of your Crisis Tapes episodes, Mert.
Oh yes, the next recording is coming up very soon, Chris.
Oh, terrific.
Excellent. I can't help but read every single pun in this, so bear with me.
Oh, please go ahead, Ian. I understand your needs.
Caution. An absurd amount of bad ape puns are incoming. Please be ape-vised. Gorilla God's recent incarceration in the pages of The Flash has left a void that Monsieur Mallah is more than happy to fill. Ape-sembling a group of the DCU's most sinister simians, Mallah forms the Legion of with an eye toward world domination. But the world won't be conquered that easily. Enter the all-ape Jungle League. Can this team of hero anthropoids be salvation we need, or will Malah's team of maniacal monkeys bring forth an apocalypse? Oh,
All right, let's pause for a minute. First of all, I'm really glad I was here for you to enjoy yourself that much.
yes.
But just mildly pulling back the curtain, in a near future episode, we're going to be talking about apes again. And how off the wall are you going to be in that episode? I can only imagine.
I'm gonna go bananas. I mean, clearly.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
You set me up for it, and I knocked it down, baby. This is too good. Page 27. Jamie, this one's for you, brother.
Yep.
This is fantastic. Fantastic. And then on the next page, Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, just for good measure, issue 6, page 28. Superman 78, The Metal Curtain. This is a non-final cover, but it's still a great cover nonetheless.
Great cover, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you recognize the shape above Superman and Lois's heads.
I don't actually.
Is that Lex Luthor's body armor?
On the nosy.
Right,
Yes.
right. Well done, Ian.
Yep. Excellent. Can Superman trust Lex Luthor? Probably not. Page 29. All right. Bringing it down a little bit more here. Let's get to this Barda all ages book here, page 32, by Ngozi Ukazu. New York Times bestselling writer artist for Check Please, as she takes readers on an unforgettable journey of self-discovery, deep friendships, and first loves. Dark side is, and life on Apocalypse is tough. But then, it is hell after all. And no one knows this better than Barda, Granny Goodness's right-hand warrior. But Barda has a secret. She's in love, or she's drawn to the idea of it anyway. Whether it be a beauty or a flower, her affection for her closest friend, or was that Orly? Orly, I assume?
Yep, Orly. Sounds about right.
Orly, or the mysterious and fierce enemy warrior Orion, who is the only match for Barda's strength. This sounds terrific.
We do not speak of love on Apocalypse.
That artwork is absolutely what I want.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, this is all ages, just the way that I like it on page 32.
I gotta say, I don't usually go in for these YA graphic novel type things, but I really like the sound of this one.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then...
Oh, Jeffrey Brown.
Yep. Batman and Robin and Howard. To Damian Wayne, there's nothing more important than protecting the streets of Gotham City as Robin, but when he makes a critical mistake while out on patrol, Damian finds himself benched on top of transferring to a new school. When his new classmate Howard offers to show him the ropes, Damian finds himself in a challenge he never expected. Love me some Jeffrey Brown. This is great.
Yeah, this is interesting. I don't know that I've ever seen this before, but these are this and Primer on the opposite page. These are things that were DC offered originally as graphic novels that are now being broken down and published as single issues.
Huh.
Oh yeah, that's a good point there, Murd. Huh. Okay. All right. Well then, yeah. I mean, and for that matter, it'll be easier for kids to check it out if they want to just check out a particular comic, like bite-sized version of it. So yeah, really good point. Yeah, Primer #1. I remember when that was solicited as a full book. So here's the first issue available on page 35. And then Batman and Scooby-Doo Mysteries #3. The best possible cover you could have for that. On page 36.
The rope climb.
Oh, yeah. Always great. Looney Tunes #277 on that same page. 277 issues of Looney Tunes. Still $2.99.
Oh, look at that facsimile. Oh, it's a classic.
Yep.
Detective Comics 411.
First appearance of Talia al Ghul.
Yep.
And then as well, a Ra's al Ghul, Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil in its original oversized format.
Wow. That's cool. Oh, so these are like the Treasury size edition books that DC did.
You got it. Yep. Collector's edition #51, page 37. I may even buy that, to be honest with you. That's a really cool thing to have.
So it reprints Batman 232, 242 through 244, which are classic Ra's al Ghul stories. So I may get that too, Ian. Wow.
Yeah. All right. Steelworks collected. So Michael Dorn's book with
my man.
Lots and lots of honor is available for everyone to check out on page 38.
Watching a lot of my beloved Deep Space Nine during my incubation period here.
Excellent. World's Finest Teen Titans by Mark Waid and Mike Norton and Emanuela Lupacino on page 39. Got to support Norton here. So collects World's Finest Teen Titans 1 through 6.
Got all 6 issues in my pile. Awesome.
Batman Black Mirror Deluxe Edition by Scott Snyder with art.
Never read this story.
Well,
Black Mirror.
This is a good way to do it in a deluxe edition. Deluxe jock art. I mean, come on. And Francesco Francavilla while we're at it. Collects Detective Comics 871 to 881. Page 40. That was the beginning of Snyder writing Batman, if I remember correctly, because then shortly thereafter, the New 52 launched and he was the head. Booster Gold, the complete 2007
Shane would love this.
Series, book 1. Yes. I'm sure he owns it all 8 times already.
Doesn't matter.
This is Booster Gold issues 0 through 14 and 1 million.
I read a lot of this series. It was really entertaining.
Yeah.
Booster Gold series.
Oh,
Look at this. Look at this, Ian.
Yep. Yeah. The Chuck Dixon, Denny O'Neil, and Devin Grayson Nightwing, Night in Bloodhaven Compendium 1, page 44. This collects Nightwing 1 through 4, the first volume, then 1 through 25 of the second volume, issue 1 million. Nightwing Annual number 1, Wizard Presents Nightwing 1/2. The Wizard 1/2 issues.
Yep.
Nightwing and Huntress 1 through 4, Green Arrow 134 to 135, Robin 55, and Detective Comics 723 through 725 and 1 million.
Good stuff in there.
Lot. That is a lot in one collection right there.
Over 1,000 pages for $60.
Yep.
Nightwing and Huntress. That was a good miniseries. I remember that very well.
Hashtag not for Shane, page 44.
Well, at least it's a soft cover.
Yes, that is very true. That is very true. That next page, Adventures of Superman by George Perez.
And then just say it. Just say it.
52, volume.
There you go.
Yes. For the 18th time, 52, volume 1. It's like every year there's like 5 editions of 52 volume 1 published by DC Comics.
Have they, and I'm thinking of Shane here, have they dared to put that whole story in one massive book yet?
I think they have.
Okay. Did they do like an omnibus of it, or I don't remember, but
if not one book, there were definitely 2 books. I remember that. Like there was like an omnibus edition that put as much of 52 into one volume as possible.
Here's the Space Age Superman story mentioned before.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Page 46.
One of the best miniseries of 2023, without question.
Yep. And Zatanna by Paul Dini gets a new edition with Adam Beechin, Matthew Sturgis, and Derek Friedhoffs, with Stephanie Rue, Jamal Eigel, Chris Harden, and Cliff Chang on the artwork chores, covered by Adam Hughes.
Never read that. I heard it was a good series, though.
Yeah, it's excellent. I mean, anytime Paul Dini gets to write Zatanna, it's bound to be good, and this is definitely there. And it's 16 issues of Zatanna plus Zatanna Everyday Magic and the DC Infinite Halloween Special #1, available on page 47. And that is it with DC. And I think we're just going to jump straight to Marvel here.
I appreciate that, because after Marvel, I got to leave because my congestion's starting to take a toll.
No worries.
I don't want to have to expose our lovely listeners to my, snottings much longer.
Yep. Let's point out my favorite thing that I point out every month. Avengers 16, which is actually Amazing Spider-Man 45. Come on, people. All right. This I'm looking forward to. As one of the hottest artists in comic books, Peach Momoko is launching Ultimate X-Men #1 in the new Ultimate Universe. I started Ultimate Spider-Man issue 1. I haven't finished it quite yet, but that is terrific.
I'm waiting to get my next shipment. I've heard it's wonderful, though.
You're going to love it, Chris. You're absolutely going to love it.
Because he's an adult and he's married, right?
Yes.
There you go. Okay.
Yep.
Change. Moving on. I like that.
Yep. And it's a different universe, so things will be familiar and other things will not be, and I think you'll be thrilled with some
forward to it.
Yes, there's some timey-wimey stuff going on too.
Definitely, yep. But this is a teenage. It mostly focuses on Armor. Or at least as your, primary character in this, as Hisaki Ichiki is a teenage girl who just wants to live a normal life, go to school, hang out with friends, ignore the political strife boiling over after the events of Ultimate Invasion. But life has other plans for her. In Japan, urban legends have sprung to life and brought some unusual new powers with them. Meet Armor, Maystorm, and a group of new Ultimate X-Men, the likes of which you've never seen before. Page 2 for the main solicitation, page 3 for the cover there. Looking forward to it. Much more of a manga bent on X-Men, but I am all here for it.
Interesting choice of entry point character too.
Yeah. Yep. Armor. Absolutely. I mean, Armor was a character that Joss Whedon used in his Astonishing run.
Right,
very
that's right.
well.
That's right.
Which I just recently read, so she's new to me.
Good Good series.
Nice. And she was kind of the Kitty Pryde entryway point character in that run. So I assume she'll be taking on a somewhat similar mantle here with this one. So definitely worth checking out. And then issue 3 of Ultimate Spider-Man, as Peter Parker's life gets even more complicated. Peter Parker versus Kingpin. What more do you need to know right there, page 5? But here's what I'm looking forward to on page 6. You bring one of my favorite creators, period, not even in comics, Greg Weisman, and you team him with Humberto Ramos, and you give me the Spectacular Spider-Men. Finally, a series with Peter and Miles together in a team up, and it's written by Greg Weisman. Baby, come on.
Yep, they don't even need to tell you what it's about, and in fact, they don't.
Yes, exactly. They just mentioned that it's a team up series, and I'm okay with that.
And the copy's reminding us that Weisman was behind definitely one of the more outstanding Spider-Man cartoons, which was Spectacular Spider-Man.
Here.
Yep. Which unfortunately recently left Disney Plus.
Really?
Yeah. I guess whatever rights they had to it must have expired. I don't know if it's going to pop up somewhere else, but I'm sure it probably will. But the individual episodes are still available for purchase on, Apple TV and all that stuff. But it is not currently on Disney Plus, although every other Spider-Man series is.
I would mention to listeners, if you're a Spider-Man fan, if you haven't seen this particular animated series, I think it's one of the most pure of all the Spider-Man cartoons they've yet devised. It's really faithful to the essence of the character.
Also, by the way, that was me in the U.S. talking. If you live in Canada, apparently it's still on Disney Plus. So. All of our Canadian listeners, enjoy watching Spectacular Spider-Man whenever you can. All right. Jackpot and Black Cat, number 1 of 4. Celeste Bronfin and Emilio Laiso. Luck be the ladies. Mary Jane Watson finally taking on the character of Jackpot. And teaming up with Black Cat for some lady adventures on page 8. That actually looks like it could be a lot of fun. So,
and it's a classic Spider-Man villain involved.
Yes, indeed. What classic Spider villain is behind the blackmail? We're not going to tell you, but find out. Then Ghost Rider number 1, Benjamin Percy launching a Ghost Rider series with Danny Kim on the artwork chores. Who is the new Spirit of Vengeance? We got a brand new one coming. We will find out who that is in the pages of this on page 10. Look at that artwork. My God. Oof. Beautiful. That's like some Marvel Knights era stuff right there.
Yeah, good point.
Issue 1 of Iman Vellani and Sabir Pirzada's Ms. Marvel Mutant Menace miniseries. There's a lot of M's right there, by Scott Godlewski on the artwork chores. Ms. Marvel has officially come out to the world as a mutant and a member of the X-Men, and she's about to learn just how hard things can get for mutant kind. Usually X-Men find that out pretty early, and now she gets to herself. So.
And the actress is co-writing the book.
You got it.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
so I'm being very cynical now because I'm middle-aged, but she was dead for what, 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like 2 months or something like that, and then she came back. She got better.
That was the transparent stunt and a little insulting. But I will give Marvel credit for this much: she doesn't look like Iman Vellani yet in the comics, and she also isn't exhibiting the same power set that the MCU's version of the character. She still just swells up her fists big. She's still a shapeshifter as opposed to manipulating hard light constructs. So glad for them maintaining their integrity thus far.
I was fully expecting a secondary mutation to make that happen, and they haven't done that yet. So yes, I agree with you, Murd. Black Widow and Hawkeye, one of my favorite team ups right there.
Great team up.
Yep. Stephanie Phillips on the writing chores and Paolo Villanelli on the artwork. The Eyes of a Hawk and the Venom of a Widow. Variant cover by George Perez. One of his old pit-ups repurposed into a cover.
Perez.
Cool. This is going to be a 4-issue miniseries on page 15. And And finishing, continuing with the What If Venom series, they're the best there is at what they do. Wolverine Venom. Enough said. This is interesting.
Bringing this title back, huh?
Yeah. Web of Spider-Man #1. Zeb Wells, Cody Ziegler, Steve Fox, Alex Segura, and Greg Weisman all on the writing chores on this one. Romita Jr., Ed McGuinness, Greg Land, and others on the artwork. And a Capullo cover, for that matter.
And the copy says, 2024 is primed to be one of the biggest years in spider history.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep. So this is a one-shot.
Yes.
And it's basically a preview of coming attractions. It's,
Gotcha.
Yeah, what they tend to do with those like timeless one shots for all of Marvel, they're doing with just Spider-Man here with Web of Spider-Man, and love that Spider-Punk cover there on the next page 18, and page 19. Welcome to Spider High in Edge of Spider-Verse #2, the most dangerous high school on Earth. Gloomy Miller, what a name, is the new kid, and things aren't looking good for him. Of course not. He's gloomy. Making it through his first year there with the villainous teachers actually trying to kill him. On the bright side, he may have a shot with the cute cheerleader, but who is the mysterious and deadly Spooker Man? And Cyborg Spider-Man also returns in this issue as well. Yeah, this is some Burton-esque Spider-Man action on page 19.
Oh, Peter
there's
David.
one for you, Ian.
Yes, number 20, page 20. Peter David returns to the Symbiote Spider-Man saga. This time, Symbiote Spider-Man 2099. Man, oh man.
I love that Miss Minutes variant cover, by the way, by Salvador LaRocca.
Oh yeah, that's excellent. Miggy is facing a hostile takeover of his own body. Kron Stone, the Venom of 2099, wages an all-out assault on Alchemax, and the only hope of stopping him lies with the power awakened by a top-secret project gone horribly wrong. What must Miguel sacrifice to seal the bond with his new symbiote? His body, his mind, his very soul? Find that on the pages.
You know, I just had a really nice flashback moment, not from LSD, but from, as we discussed this book, I'm remembering, I guess it's back in the 90s, the first Peter Parker Miguel crossover they did. It was a prestige format. Murder Members it. I could see by his face.
Yep, featuring the Spider-Man of 2211. Yes,
and I remember reading it, and I remember there's a scene, because obviously it's they're going back and forth between the two realities, and Miguel is in Peter's reality. I think he is. His time, I should say. And there's a moment where David has a lot of the Marvel heroes appear. And I remember Miguel, because to him, these people are just like almost like myths. He actually becomes emotional in the scene. So it's a very powerful moment. I remember it's really striking me as a reader all the way back then when I read it. So.
Very cool. And
have you read that story, Ian?
I have not.
Seek it out. It's really good.
It's on Unlimited. I know that. So
sure it is, yeah.
I'll go ahead and seek it out. The other thing that I was going to say is, I mean, I'll talk about this more the next time we have a comic talk, but I got a PlayStation 5 and I am currently about 67% done with the first Spider-Man game. And I just unlocked the Spider-Man 2099 costume and was having fun running around New York in Miggy's outfit for a little bit. So that was good stuff. Twilight issue 4 on page 22. Zdarsky on the writing chores, Daniel Acuna on the artwork. Really looking forward to checking that one out. What is the terrible secret of Iron Man, the Wasp, and H-Day?
Please tell me Tony behaved himself with Janet.
Sure. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. He did. The fall of the House of X and rise of Power of X continue on page 24 and 25, issue 3 of 5 of those two series. And D-Day is here, and there's absolutely a main event: Iron Man versus Fei Long on Invincible Iron Man number 16.
Is he still married to Emma, or has that already been ended?
I think he's still married to Emma.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
and he's getting some new suits. Iron Man's getting some new suits.
AIM.
Not only AIM, but also just look at this cover in general here. You got the Lockheed in the corner. You got Ilyana in her gold outfit, and
Love Lockheed
and Kate
Ninja
Pride.
Kitty Pride.
Exactly, Ninja Kitty Pride. All for it. Page 27. Phil Noto still.
Maybe that is an AIM. Actually, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Ian. Maybe that's not AIM. Is that the right?
I don't know, actually. Well, they don't say here.
They just say stopping anti-mutant bigots. So.
Yeah, so maybe it is the right, but yes, they do have bucket heads like AIM,
Yes.
so that's one way or the other there. Wow, 50th issue of X-Force. Final battle.
Look at that wonderful Perez variant.
Oh, so good. So good.
Simon and Hank, what a friendship.
Yep. Weapon X-Men, number 1 of 4. Christos Gage on the writing.
Writer.
And Yildiray Sinar on the artwork. A multiverse of Logans bands together in. In original X-Men, you saw the Phoenix recruit the young X-Men to fix yet another time-displaced disaster. But now the threat is deadlier than ever, and it's time to call in the X-Men's big gun. He's the best there is at what he does in every universe, and this job is too big for just one of him.
Wasn't Christo Gage one of the key writers in that Magnificent Avengers cartoon from some years back?
Yes, he was.
Right? Yeah, that's a great show. Ugh.
Yep.
I just consider that like the Marvel version of like DC's Batman animated series. It's that good.
I'm also hoping that it doesn't say that he is, but I'm hoping that the Cowboy Wolverine comes back here, because I was a huge fan of him. X-Men Forever, number 1 of 4. Karen Gillan.
The Phoenix, a bloodstained Phoenix designer on Jean Grey. What can go wrong?
Yeah, exactly. How can you kill a digital god? What do you do when the Phoenix is bleeding out into nothing? There's been questions that have haunted you since the end of Immortal X-Men. Finally, you get some answers. And they are right here. Page 30. But this is what I'm looking forward to the most. My youth is back. X-Men 97, number 1 of 4. Steve Fox, Salva Espin, on the writing and the artwork. This is the official prelude to the Disney Plus series, which will be coming later this year, with a cover there that is just so perfect in every single way.
Mm-hmm. Now,
and tell the people who drew it, Ian.
Todd Knock. Yep. Indeed.
Ian, do you anticipate they're going to make this version of the show a little more sophisticated in the content, or do you think it's going to be very much like the original?
I think that they're going to marry old school sensibilities with today. And mind you, the show actually did some really sophisticated storytelling at times. So I'm thinking we're going to get more of that as much as possible with that original series feel. And I'm also curious to see who's going to be voicing Cyclops, because unfortunately that voice actor passed away a couple of years ago. So
they're bringing back all the other original voice actors. Oh, wow.
From what I'm aware, as many of the voice actors as they could bring back, they're bringing back for this X-Men 97 series. So, Giant Size Spider-Gwen by Melissa Flores and Alba Glez, spinning from the pages of Spider-Gwen Smash. Gwen Stacy's finally found some balance in her home dimension. But when the remnants of the Carnage symbiote resurface in Gwen's bandmate Mary Jane, they attract the attention of something sinister. Orlando Octavius, the adopted son of Dr. Octopus, now has his sights set on MJ, and Spider-Gwen will have to save her friend from the gauntlet of new and terrifying villains in this oversized spectacular. Watch out. Second issue of Night Thrasher, page 38. But 39, again, both Chris and I are looking forward to this miniseries, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, issue 2 of 4. Steve Orlando back in the realm here, and Wanda and Pietro are no longer on speaking terms. So when the Wizard corners each of them with his army of frightful 400, it will take all the ingenuity and all their power to survive.
Yeah, those pesky anti-gravitational discs.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that miniseries.
Yes, indeed.
That's a great cover on Amazing Spider-Man 45 by Romita Jr. Woof.
Anytime Ramita draws rain,
Yep.
like,
Yeah.
it's going to be good and beautiful. Gang war is over, but New York City will bear the scars for a long time. While Peter was fighting the war, other parts of his life kept going on, and the consequences will be left here. Plus, what mystery is bubbling up at Ravencroft? Uh-oh. Page 40 for that. And then we get Electro on page 41.
In the classic costume.
Yes. Terrific.
I always love how in his first appearance, I think it was Spider-Man 9, Peter went to the hardware store and got like rubber like gloves and footsies and like used them to like stop the electric bolts. It was great.
So we've somehow reached the 300th issue of Miles Morales Spider-Man. It's also issue 18. But
Oh my God, 300 issues! Holy mackerel!
I need to see how they're counting this, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's like
Are they
300
including the original
appearances,
Ultimate
maybe?
Spider-Man series in this?
Including variant covers?
I don't know. I think they're probably counting books that weren't actually called Miles Morales Spider-Man in here. Maybe they're counting Champions in here. I don't know, but I'll see if I can find a broken down list. But either way, congratulations on what may be your 300th issue, Miles. Got a whole lot of great covers there, and then Spider-Woman number 5 has Spider-Boy in it on page 44. Great cover there for Spider-Boy number 5, actually. Page 47. Facsimiles this month include Spider-Man 254.
Great era.
Yep. And the third issue of
They're doing the whole run.
They are. Full run of
And now we have Wolverine 1, the Claremont John Buscema.
Mm-hmm. Page 51.
Buscema, God, he was a master. I
love that. Retailers/consumers, please inquire regarding foil pricing.
Oh boy, foil pricing. God.
Yeah. Jarvis in the middle there of Avengers number 11.
He's just trying to enjoy his tea time.
That's it. That's all he needs. Sensational She-Hulk number 6. She-Hulk in space.
Rainbow Rowell.
Yep. I love that. This cover was previously solicited as number 4, but moved to this issue as the story shifted. Okay, sure. Great cover there for Cap.
Yeah. Great JMS run, what I've read so far.
Mm-hmm. Page 57.
Well, Power Pack.
Issue 3 of Wheezy returning the Power Pack into the storm with June Brigman along for the ride. Variant cover by my favorite Todd Knock.
Storm in her classic punk rock outfit.
Love it all. Love it all. And Death Thanos? Cantwell? What are you doing? Whatever it is,
he's doing the most consequential fight in the history of the Marvel Universe. That's what he's doing.
Hey, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Cantwell. So I'm for that.
Mm-hmm. Ditto.
Page
I'm also for what's happening on page 59. Underneath that delicious Alex Ross cover. A sentient role-playing game has transformed New York City into a fantasy world. To save lives and reverse the spell, Doctor Strange must gather a team of secret defenders.
This is right in Weird's wheelhouse. Secret
defenders are back. Look, it's Doctor Strange plus Taskmaster, Black Cat, and Hunter's Moon from Moon Knight, my nominee for Best New Villain of 2022.
That's right.
Oh my God, I love it. That is
okay. You're doing good work.
Mm-hmm. All right, hold on. Taking out the D20, rolling it. Let's say, just so everybody on camera can see it. Let's say, depending on the roll, says how they're going to do. I rolled a 2, so bad things are going to happen.
Saving throw failed.
Hey, would you just go show the full cover again on screen, please?
Yes, of course.
God, that is breathtaking. Oh my God.
Oh my God. So good. So good.
Such a weird grouping of characters to face such a weird threat. I'm gonna love that issue.
Oh my God, yeah. Especially like Taskmaster? Really?
He looks like he's about ready to decapitate some of the civilians around him.
I know. Oh my God. And then issue 4 of Jason Liu's Sentry versus Sentry. When a revelation about the fate of the missing sentries brings the remaining shoe to blows, it quickly becomes clear that only one can come out as a top. So we will find out who our new sentry is in this 4th issue, page 60. And we're eventually going to find out who the new sentry is going to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because who more than likely was going to play him is no longer going to be playing him because he had to walk away. So that's
I didn't know they were going to bring the Sentry into the MCU.
It was a very big rumor. It was never officially confirmed, but we do know who was going to be in Thunderbolts in one role as another, and that is Stephen Wen. But due to the writer's strike, he was no longer able to film. So they're looking to recast his role. They never said who it was going to be, but a bunch of outlets had guessed that it was going to be the Sentry. So I'm guessing that too.
Okay.
All right.
The Wrath of Doom.
Yes. Kelly and Lanzig finishing their Thunderbolts miniseries, issue 4 of 4 here. Oh.
Jeez.
Seriously.
God.
Seriously, Alex. Come on, man. Like, this is too much. Fantastic Four number 18. What a freaking cover. And the variant cover by Noto. Just as pretty.
Yep.
Page 61.
The Secret of Franklin Richards.
Franklin Richards has been an immortal, a god, an Omega-level mutant, and more. He's created life, entire universes, and been worshipped for it. He's ended life and been cussed out with just as much sincerity. But there's something else Franklin Richards has done and is doing that nobody else in the universe knows about.
Uh-oh.
You know what it is? He's playing Dungeons and Dragons. That's the problem.
Oh my God.
He's the one who did it. He's got reality warping powers. It all makes sense. And an invisible asteroid threatening all life on Earth and the all-new SHIELD. Invisible asteroids. Comics, baby.
Gotta love them.
Mm-hmm. Look at this. They're doing a what if for aliens.
Yep. And it's co-written by Paul Reiser and his son.
What if Carter Burke had lived?
Oh my God. Wow. Okay. Page 65. That is something else right there.
It's a great performance. He's such a worm in that movie.
Yes, he is.
I just picked up Where the Planet of the Apes issue 1.
Mm-hmm.
Really enjoyed it.
All new series set in the original era.
It's really good. Right, it's just prologue to the original film. And stay tuned, folks.
Mm-hmm. Star Wars Jango Fett #1. Ethan Sachs and Luke Ross.
Luke Ross, great penciler.
Terrific.
Magnificent.
Jango Fett embarks on a brand new mission here, page 69.
Ron.
That continues on page 70, issue 3 of that. And the action-packed finale of Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi by Jody Hauser and Salvador Larroca.
I think LaRocca pencils my favorite Darth Vader in comics, actually.
Meanwhile, on this page 72, Star Wars 44, The Trial of Lando Calrissian. Lando and Carbonite. Gotta love it. Okay. They're soliciting their Free Comic Book Day issue, Spider-Man and the Ultimate Universe, written by Zeb Wells and Denise Camp, on page 74. So now we know what that's going to be. And the other one, Blood Hunt / X-Men #1, Jed McKay and Gail frickin' Simone, penciled by Sarah Pacelli and David Marquez. It is going to be a good Free Comic Book Day, gentlemen. That is a good creative team right there, page 75. Jubilee learns things that you cannot go home again. Oh boy.
That's certainly true.
Mm-hmm. All right, here we are into the collections, and starting off with the Mutant Massacre Prelude on page 80. Big collection here, written by Claremont, of course, with Cockrum, Nascenti, Roger Stern, John Byrne, Bob Layton.
This is all good stuff. They got the Nightcrawler miniseries in there, Murd.
Yes, they do.
Oh, yeah.
Including
Good
the
stuff.
Long Shot miniseries as well, which is a great miniseries in and of itself. Asgardian Wars going on here. Nightcrawler goes solo and Longshot debuts. And then page 81, reprinting the Brand New Day omnibus.
I couldn't stand this stuff. I got to be honest with you. I
There
pretty much dropped Spider-Man with this stuff.
There was a lot of Brand New Day that I enjoyed. It wasn't always great, but depending on who was writing it at that moment, it was good stuff. The Dan Slott, Guggenheim, Wells, Wade, Kelly, good creators behind it.
A lot of good writers there. I again, it's old news now, but just I couldn't stand the whole.
Oh yeah,
the way they went with the character.
One more day was terrible. Brand New Day was better.
Let's talk about something that is great though. So, anytime they reprint one of the all-time great Daredevil runs, it should be noted. So this is the Bendis Malieve omnibus.
Mm-hmm.
This is masterful stuff. Conversely, I don't know why they're reprinting Shadowlands, which is not masterful stuff. But great Daredevil is Bendis Malieve. If anything, obviously Miller comes first, but these are excellent stories.
Absolutely. Second omnibus of Straczynski's work on Amazing Spider-Man, which unfortunately will include one more day on page 83. So,
yeah, JMS has a lot of great stories in his run.
X Factor, the original X-Men Omnibus Volume 1, collects 1 through 26 of X Factor, as well as the issues leading up to it, including Avengers 263 and Fantastic Four 286. And Iron Man Annual thrown in there, Amazing Spider-Man, Thor, Cyclops leaving his wife, and a bunch of other stuff. So,
putting aside my old complaint, they never should have brought Jean Grey back. There's some good stuff in there.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm. No. It's once Wheezy took the helm, that's when X Factor really picked up steam. But yeah, this is some good comic books here on page 84. Jason Aaron's run, volume 5, on page 86. If you're collecting that,
Bird, Old School Defenders.
Yep. Page
Mateus.
Mm-hmm. Mike Barr as well. Steve Ditko on some of that pencils. Spine-tingling Spider-Man, which got some really good buzz. Written by Saladin Ahmed, penciled by Juan Ferreira. Much more of a horror take on Spider-Man on page 90 here. Collects all 4 issues of that, including the 0 issue. So technically, I guess that would be 5 issues. But check that one out if you're interested. Just for you, Daredevil Black Armor, page 95.
What a dreadful period in the character's history, in my humble opinion.
Oh, wow. Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars Battle World. Written by DeFalco, penciled by Olive.
Oh, I love Olive.
Yep. This is all 4 issues of the Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars Battle World miniseries available for you on page 98.
There's a couple fun old trades coming out I want to note.
Avengers West Coast.
Yeah, I saw that. So Ultron Unbound. So Roy Thomas writing with his wife, Dan Thomas. Avengers West Coast 83 to 95. So a lot of fun stuff in there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
then Captain America, the man who sold the United States.
Englehart.
It's not just Englehart. We're now entering the completely off the wall late 70s Kirby period.
Oh boy.
At Marvel, which I just absolutely adore.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as the elder statesman of comics, he didn't care anymore. He ignored editorial, did what he wanted to do. And I'm sure I've read some of these stories. And
some of them, yeah.
They're really fun, but they're completely off the wall.
They are completely nutso.
Mad Bomb!
Yep. And then on that 111, the next page, Thunderbolt's Epic Collection, Wanted Dead or Alive, Volume 2. Great Busiek stuff here. The Kessels, Mark Bagley, George Perez.
So, for me in the 1990s, when a lot of super comics I just thought were just not cutting the mustard for me, Thunderbolts was an oasis in the desert.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Mm-hmm. No question about it.
But again, look at the writer.
Yeah. Right? And this also includes the Thunderbolts Avengers crossover, hence the George Perez.
Which is excellent as well. Yep.
X-Men Epic Collection Fatal Attractions by Wabdell. Yep. Larry Hama, Howard Mackie. Pencils by, my God, some luminaries were penciling at that time, and Romita Jr., both Kuberts, Andy and Adam, Wee Weeks, tons
Jan
of
Duursema, great penciler.
Oh, yep. And this collects a whole bunch of 90s stuff into the Fatal Attractions crossover that had foil covers. It most definitely did.
It's kind of funny when you think about it now that they were making this reference to a great but really creepy film about a rabbit being boiled. Like,
oh my God.
Anyway.
And meanwhile,
the 90s.
This is something completely different and in a very, very good way. Page 116, Lockjaw Avengers Assemble graphic novel. Chris Eliopoulos, Audrey Loeb, Ig Guerra, Colin Cooper. This is great. Lockjaw and the Pet Avengers 1 through 4, and Lockjaw and the Pet Avengers Unleashed 1 through 4. Brilliant.
Yep.
Oh, man. And Miss Lion, the Pet Avengers.
Oh, great. I'm sorry, go back to that Daredevil. So these are smaller versions Marvel's doing in recent years of their Masterworks series.
Yeah.
So they're smaller, they're more affordable. They're nice presentations. This is Daredevil issues 22 to 32. So this is Stan Lee working with Gene Colan. I mean, this is great swashbuckling Daredevil. I mean, you see the Gladiator there. One of the covers, I think, is there a Kazar and Zabu story? I believe there is. And then they go into the whole Matt's twin brother, Mike Murdoch, which is a whole. Everyone knows this immediately.
Oh boy,
it's just a fascinating little bit of Daredevil's history that every Daredevil fan should really check out.
Boy.
Really fun.
Yeah, but they've used that twin thing really well whenever he becomes unhinged.
Yes,
so.
I was just gonna say, I think Mark Waid in his run on Daredevil.
Yes, he did.
It couldn't resist digging up old Mike.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
And that is it for Marvel.
All right, before I snot all over the keyboard, one more thing before I head out, gentlemen. You don't have to go to it, Ian, but I'm just going to mention that in tomorrow's back issue 151 is very exciting. It's a Kelly Jones cover. It's a Neil Gaiman issue with an interview with Gaiman. And they're examining the Sandman, and they're going to also go into Sandman Mystery Theater, one of my favorite titles of the 90s. Murd, Sleepwalker.
Oh, yes, by Bob Budiansky.
Yep. Casper's Haunting Horse Nightmare.
Yeah. And
Doctor Strange's, of course, Adversary Nightmare as well. So that's gonna be a fun issue of back issue. So just wanted to mention that. Excellent. All right, gentlemen, this was an honor. It doubly was a tonic for the spirit considering my isolation.
I hope it was good medicine for you, Chris.
Gentlemen, of course, you're both a tonic for the spirit.
All
I wish you both well and good health.
Indeed.
And Ian, take the cannolis.
I will leave the gun and I will take the cannolis. Yes. Talk about Kismet here. I did not know this was going to be in previews this month. And yet here we are, Murd, on page 140 of the main Diamond previews. Don Coppola, a full graphic novel biography of Francis Ford Coppola by Amazian on page 140 here. Second in this series of volumes based on the life and career of cinema icon Francis Ford Coppola, presented as both biography and filmography, exemplifies the historic rise and impact that Coppola had on the cinema industry.
This is the same person who produced that Tarantino biocomic, Quentin by Tarantino, which I don't know if it's been published yet or not, but I know I pre-ordered it. But now Amazian is doing the same thing for Coppola. So I guess I'm assuming that the Tarantino thing was the first volume, and this is the second. Yes. There'll be a third great visionary director biography coming out from the same creator.
Yep. And the artwork looks great. That's from the previews that they're showing of it. So yeah, any of you Coppola fans out there who want to know a little bit more about one of your favorite directors, this may well be worth checking out. Meanwhile, on the next page, page 142, if Chris was still here, I'm sure he'd be mentioning a new story arc begins in Conan the Barbarian issue 9 by Jim Zub with Roberto de la Torre on the artwork chores. Beyond flesh, beyond death, beyond time. Conan has traveled far and seen much in his legendary journeys, including being an Avenger. But nothing he has experienced thus far can prepare him for a quest to lands beyond to answer dark riddles of the past. Unexpected allies await, fierce enemies loom, and the strange power of the Black Stone stirs in the Age Unconquered. Marvelous.
Yes. Well, you've done Chris proud there, Ian.
Thank you.
Just can't stop praising this series. He keeps saying it's the best Conan comic he's read in like 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And this is a good jumping on point for anybody looking to get a new story arc out there. And, you can go ahead and pick up a trade of the first one. So check it out, page 142.
But if you'd rather jump on a little earlier in time, just turn a couple pages further in the Titan section here. Page 144, they've got a hardcover omnibus of the original Marvel Conan comics by Roy Thomas and Barry Windsor Smith. There's a hardcover that collects the first 26 issues of that, plus a little bit of Savage Tales material.
Yeah, but I love that. I love that they just replaced the Marvel in Comics Group with Conan. So it's not Marvel Comics Group; it's Conan Comics Group.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Yep. But always good to see these back in print one way or the other.
Yep. And further in that vein, on page 146, we've got another hardcover omnibus of Savage Sword of Conan from the Conan Comics Group back in the 70s. But again, it's written by Roy Thomas with art by Barry Windsor Smith and Big John Buscema.
Absolutely. Yep. Issues 1 through 5 from Savage Tales, and then 1 through 12 of Savage Sword. Oh my God, that artwork! That artwork is stunning. And then even more, we get Conan the Barbarian Volume 2, Thrice Marked for Death, Jim Zub and Doug Braithwaite. So this is the second of the volumes to catch yourself up on page 148 with said Conan ongoing series. Let's go to Speed Grapher, Volume 1. Get to manga a little bit early, since Titan likes putting their stuff at the front here. A dark, gritty story of photojournalist Saiga and the young Kagura. In the seedy underworld of a supernatural Tokyo, a troubled former war photographer attempts to save a gifted 15-year-old girl from a sinister cabal that wants to exploit her powers. Adapted from the hit Gonzo anime of the same name, Speed Grapher Volume 1. Really cool premise here, that's what immediately caught my eye. So I may have to try to track down the anime, and now we've got a manga to go along with it on page 158.
Okay.
Great artwork, too, on the following pages. Star Wars Insider, The High Republic, Tales of Enlightenment, a hardcover collection of Star Wars The High Republic stories from the pages of Star Wars Insider, all collected on page 160 in one package. And then Titan putting out from James Lovegrove, Doctor Strange Dimension War, a mind-bending original adventure of Doctor Strange the Sorcerer Supreme, brought to life for a new era on page 160.
So this is a prose novel.
Indeed.
Doctor Strange.
Yep, absolutely. And then there's a cookbook, just to get me hungry.
Yeah, that's some tasty-looking red velvet cake we're seeing there.
Page 161. This is Sea of Thieves, the cookbook. And I am moving from that before I develop a sweet tooth. Aftershocks, still sticking with the trade paperbacks, so I'm just going to scroll past there for now. Spotlight on they have a spotlight on Steve Orlando and on Garth Ennis, but nothing new from any of that. They're just still putting out their trades. They're still scrolling along and hoping to bounce back at some point. So,
guess they might have paid for their page space in this catalog months in advance.
I believe you might be right about that. Now, page 179. talk about Godfather, because they even have a Godfather homage there by Fritz Cases. Enrique Sanchez Abuli and Eduardo Risso. Eduardo Risso, some of the best, anything in comics. Torpedo 1972 out of a Blaze. In the 1930s, Luis Torelli, known as Torpedo, was a legend of the suburbs of New York, a tough, trigger-happy Sicilian who only knew how to make friends. Anyone else is no longer here to say otherwise. Nearly 40 years later, the Big Apple has changed quite a bit. Torpedo, not so much. As a persistent journalist prepares to write an article about the Caputo family, the demons of Torpedo's past resurface, along with his dirty old habits.
That is sounding good to me.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. And it would probably be sounding good to Chris if he was still here. This is very much up his alley. Some crime noir action going on from the co-creator and artist of Eisner Award-winning 100 Bullets. Yeah, this is going to be good.
Yeah. Wow, this is really very self-consciously taking its cues from The Godfather here.
Oh yeah, well they're literally sitting in a theater watching The Godfather in these first couple of pages. So
and frames of the movie become panels of the comic. So yeah, it's very directly quoting that source material. So, yeah, I may never have seen The Godfather, and I may not be a big crime fiction fan, but as long as it's being filtered through the lens of the 1970s, I'm at least interested.
Oh yeah, and this is going to be that in spades for you right here. So definitely worth checking out. The main solicitation is on page 181, and you got some preview pages on the next page as well. So do check that book out. Torpedo 1972.
Wow, they just keep on exhuming lots and lots of great material from Osamu Tezuka.
Yeah.
Here we go on page 183. Tomorrow the Birds. Classic science fiction from Osamu Tezuka, the godfather of manga, now in English, originally published between 1971 and 1975. And it's a story that's kind of similar to what they've been doing with the Planet of the Apes prequel movies that have been coming out the last several years. And we slowly go from a cataclysm on Earth, a plague, and an outbreak of genetically altered apes, and slowly we see how the apes take over the planet and humankind becomes subjugated and feral. And that's basically what's beginning to happen in Tomorrow the Birds. It's about a post-apocalyptic landscape where humankind still exists, but they're slowly being squeezed out of their own civilization by advanced species of birds.
Yeah, and looking at the preview pages that they put in on 184 as well. This is classic Tezuka right here, and it. In general, I'm glad to see that slowly but surely, pretty much everything he's ever done is being translated into English and put out there for people who may have missed it the first time around. So yeah, happy to see this, and this is a really cool premise here. I mean, like you said, very very Planet of the Apes, and through the lens of a manga master. So we're checking out. And then 185, Blaze is bringing it this month. Almost everything in their section I'm interested in. This is Rampapista. Rampapistas, I'd say. In her first graphic novel, Rosa Cadena adapts Kiko Amat's coming-of-age novel about the wild years of adolescence. Rampapistas is 17 years old. He's a punk. He lives on the outskirts of Barcelona, and he does everything for the music. Generation X, The Clash, The Jam, La Duelistas. That last one's his own group where he plays the guitar and bellows into the microphone. It's all about playing to keep the sadness at bay and to never cry again. When you start playing, everything changes. All the shit clears up. And yeah, this looks fascinating. The artwork on the cover is very stylized and like brings you right into it. This could be something special here on page 185.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on a little bit. Further into the catalog we go And let's get to Nadia and the Nomobots on page 193. Well, this is out of Opus. In Sileo City, emotions are literally sold in the streets. Humankind toils for the coldly sentient robot community called Nomobots, producing emo pills. Emo pills, God. Designed to satisfy the automata's craving for sensations. Jimmy, a Nomobot, rescues Nadia, a female human, from an emo pill factory. Soon Jimmy finds out that humans are much more than the total sums of their emotions. An intriguing cyberpunk tale of social complexities, moral dilemmas, and plot twists. Nadia and the Nomobots on page 193. Give me a red. Misfortune's Eye, number 1, written by Brooklyn Prince with Elise Fernandez, with art by Elise Fernandez. From the Critics' Choice Award winning actress Brooklyn Prince of the Florida Project, Cocaine Bear. Beautiful. Mwah. No notes. Cocaine Bear. Fantastic. And
all you need to hear.
Oh, yeah. And The Marsh King's Daughter comes this limited series full of excitement. A teen girl wakes up to discover she can see human auras. While embarking on a journey to find what her future may hold, she uncovers a hidden psychic town. There, she'll learn about her mother's troubled past, her own curse of predicting death, and unearth the immense darkness coming for the town and her own family. You don't see seeing auras very often in comic books, so interesting premise there. Misfortune's Eye, number 1, on page 202. Okay, onward we go to Dark Horse. Let's see if there's anything new this month. Ah, yes, of course there is. Page 214. Yes, indeed. Once a Comixology original, now to the page. Dudley Datsun, number 1, by Scott Snyder and our good friend Jamal Igle. So
and our other good friend Juan Castro.
Indeed, and Juan Castro, for that matter. Very good point. Those of you who missed Dudley Datsun when it was a Comixology original, yep, now you'll be able to read it in non-digital form for the first time, and I'm happy to see that in print. This is an excellent series. I did read it when it was on Comixology Unlimited and had a great time with it. And I think that you'll all enjoy it, quite frankly. About a boy, his dog, and a machine that controls time and space. What more do you need to know?
Well, the creative team helps, certainly.
Well, yes.
Yeah, I've been waiting to be able to read this for years. So ever since I first heard the title, I mean, Dudley Datsun. It's a spiritual descendant of the old Fawcett comics.
Oh, yeah. No question about it. Yep. And this is available for you on page 214. Do check it out. Buy 3 copies.
Oh, at the bottom of page 215, we've got a new story from Patton Oswalt's Minor Threats World. Minor Threats, The Fastest Way Down. And here we have another one of my past nominees for Best Original Villain or whatever. Playtime. And apparently in the course of the last couple of Minor Threats miniseries, she's gone from the daughter of a 2-bit toy-themed supervillainess to the queen pin of crime in the fictitious city where she lives. And she's swiftly discovering that the new job is not all it's cracked up to be. So that's from Patton Oswalt, co-writer Jordan Blum, and art by Scott Hepburn.
Excellent. Happy to see anything else in the Minor Threats universe. So.
Yep, ditto. The solicit says it's the hit superhero saga that's Watchmen meets The Wire. I've read it. It's not the Watchmen meets anything, but it's still good.
And then on the next page, Cullen Bunn brings us "Monsters Are My Business" by him and Patrick Pisalongo. And this is a new action horror comedy featuring Tanner Grissom, along with a shrewd necromancer who wants him dead, and a chainsaw-wielding koala bear named Cuddles.
Sold.
As he wages a bloody war against nightmares from beyond time and space. Yeah, okay. It's Doctor Who meets insanity. I'm down. That's on 216 there. Usagi Yojimbo the Crow, #1, by the one and only Stan Sakai on writing and arting chores. And come across a merchant being attacked by 4 brigands. They rescue the supposed merchant, only discover much later that he's really a criminal with a huge bounty on his head. Of course, wherever there's a huge bounty reward, you'll find bounty hunters, Jen and Stray Dog, and other unscrupulous trackers. Learn more in Usagi Yojimbo the Crow, #1 on 217. Volume 12 of Adam Warren's Empowered, solicited on page 218, and Volume 7 of the Hellsing Deluxe Edition, one of my favorite mangas of all time, getting the Deluxe Edition treatment, once again on page 218. Volume 6 of Powers, getting a reprint. This is Powers Series 3, issues 1 through 11, and behind-the-scenes content from the making of this superhero noir classic. Available for you on page 219. Of course, the team of Bendis and Avon Oeming back for some more Powers action for anybody who didn't check this out the first time. Onward we go to IDW. And page 222, Godzilla versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 2!
They made another one.
Yes, they did. They most definitely did. Cullen Bunn yet again on the writing chores for this one. Baldemir Rivas on the artwork chores. And Freddie Williams did the cover. It's Power Rangers. It's Godzilla. I don't need to read the solicit. If you're into those things, you gotta love it.
Mm-hmm. And it's written by Cullen Bunn. The guy knows what he's doing.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Got a new Star Trek series, Star Trek Sons of Star Trek, #1 by Morgan Hampton, with Angel Hernandez on the art chores. From the pen of acclaimed cyborg writer Morgan Hampton comes a new 4-part miniseries spinning out of IDW's Eisner-nominated Star Trek series and fan favorite Defiant series. In the aftermath of Kalis's harrowing Day of Blood, Jake Sisko struggles to find his place in the universe now, and his family has been reunited. And his father, Ben Sisko, has once again saved the galaxy. So this is following Jake and where his place in the world is after the events of the Star Trek series. So any of you Deep Space Nine fans may be wanting to check this one out to get a little bit of Jake Sisko action. Star Trek Sons of Star Trek #1, page 223.
Bottom of page 224, there's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures April O'Neil special. It's April in April. And it features the character Ace Duck, who appeared in like a few frames of animation in the original Turtles animated series. I had the action figure. I felt cheated that Ace Duck never showed up more than he did. So now they're actually using him as a character, teaming him up with April. It's going to be Indiana Jones style tomb raiding adventure. It's going to be good times.
Oh my God. I never even knew what Ace Duck was, and now looking at it here, like, yeah, how could they have not had some Ace Duck? Like,
right.
It basically would have been crossing over DuckTales with Ninja Turtles. Like, I'm all for that.
Sure.
Oh man, excellent. On that same page, by the way, Catfight by Andrew Wheeler. So that's the trade paperback of that. And it's all about Felix, who lives a life of high fashion and indulgence. When a mysterious character by the name of Schrodinger threatens Felix's only surviving family member in an attempt to recruit him into a crime syndicate, Felix is sent out on a globe-trotting game of cat and mouse in a heightened world of colorful criminal masterminds. Neo-noir action series by Andrew Wheeler and Ilya Koreas on this one. Catfight, page 224. And Cantwell's Star Trek Day of Blood in hardcover form on page 225. All right. Abrams Comic Arts brings us Here Comes Charlie Brown, a Peanuts pop-up book. Charlie Brown comes to life like never before in this giftable pop-up book featuring the first ever Peanuts comic strips in Here Comes Charlie Brown. So if you wanted them in pop-up form, you're going to get it here with Here Comes Charlie Brown, a Peanuts pop-up on page 227. Marjorie Liu brings us The Night Eaters, Volume 1, She Eats at Night. That's on the same page with Sana Takeda.
Oh, wow, it's exactly the creative team of Monstrous from Image.
Indeed, yep. And this is the first volume of that. I remember when this came out, and it completely slipped off my radar. So this is the full collection of it. This tells the story of Chinese-American twins Millie and Billy, who are having a tough time. On top of the multiple failures in their personal and professional lives, they're struggling to keep their restaurant afloat. Luckily, their parents, Ipo and Kion, are in town for their annual visit. Having immigrated from Hong Kong before the twins were born, Ipo and Kion have supported their children through thick and thin and are ready to lend a hand. But they're starting to wonder, has their support made Millie and Billy incapable of standing on their own? When Ipo forces them to help her clean up the house next door, a hellish and rundown ruin that was the scene of a grisly murder, the twins are in for a nasty surprise. Boy, oh boy. The Night Eaters, Volume 1, She Eats at Night. That is going to be a spooky tale right there on page 227. Volume 3 of Strangers in Paradise on the next page, 228. Terry Moore, Strangers in Paradise. If you haven't checked it out before, here is your Volume 3 in reformatted fashion, and also available as Volumes 1 and 2, of course, resolicited on that same page, 228.
Oh, and there's an omnibus of another Terry Moore series, Serial. Apparently it's the whole thing in one handy volume.
Excellent. For only $32. Not bad.
Then on page 229 from Ahoy Comics, it's a new miniseries of The Wrong Earth, which we cannot refuse. And the high concept is, what if grim and gritty Frank Miller Batman and campy Adam West Batman switched universes? How do they cope? What hijinks do they get up to? We're a little bit further along in that story here, so that they've gotten things more or less straightened out, except grim and gritty Dragonfly Man is now stuck in campy 60s Dragonfly Man's universe. And how is he going to mess things up for campy Dragonfly Man? Is he going to corrupt the planet's innocent code-approved culture? It's written by Tom Peyer, art by Jamal Igle and Juan Castro again. So every single Wrong Earth comic that Ahoy publishes, I'm buying.
Oh, yeah. Yep. No question about it. And I will be buying it as well. Page 229. Do give it a read. And the previous Wrong Earth volumes are readily available anywhere you can find comics. So catch yourself up. Algonquin Young Readers, by the way, on that same page, Slip graphic novel by Marika Makula. Right before Jade is about to leave for a summer art intensive, her best friend Phoebe attempts suicide. How is Jade supposed to focus on herself right now? But at the art farm, Jade has artistic opportunities she's been waiting for her whole life. And as she gets to know her classmates, she begins to fall for whimsical, upbeat, comfortable in her own skin, Mary. Jade pours herself into making ceramic monsters that vent her stress and insecurities. When she puts her creatures in the kiln, something unexpected happens. They come to life, and they're taking a stand. If Jade won't confront her problems, her problems are going to confront her, including the scariest of them all. If Jade grows, prospers, and even falls in love this summer, is she leaving Phoebe behind? So a nice heartfelt, down-to-earth story with some supernatural elements thrown in there for good measure. Slip, the graphic novel, available on page 229. And this also seems like something that Chris may have pointed out on page 232.
It definitely is.
Yep. Britannia, The Great Fire of Rome by Peter Milligan, with Alvare Papangiani on the artwork chores. Turn to ancient Rome with the great detective Antonius Oxia. When Rome is aflame, Nero fiddles, and Oxia is set to find out who started the Great Fire, what's up with all the strangers in town, and what they have to do with any of it.
64 pages for $12.99.
Yep.
This is what's become of Valiant. Alien Books buys them out and then tries to make the line pay for itself a little too quickly by jacking up the prices of every Valiant book they release.
Yeah, that ain't so good.
It really isn't. I'm sorry, because I like Britannia. Chris and I agree that the last couple of Britannia miniseries Milligan has written have been very good. But if they're charging me $12.99 for 64 pages of content, I'm going to pass.
Yeah, you should be charging $12.99 for the collection, not the single issue, please. Well, this is a hardcover collection of Ninjak Super Killers by Jeff Parker, with art by Javier Peludo and supporting Norton once again. This collects the first 4 issues of that miniseries, along with Ninjak Super Killers 1 through 4. So this is 8 issues of comic for $30, which is a little bit more reasonable.
Yes.
Yeah. So check that out on page 235 if you have not done so before, and get some Ninjak action. Alien Books also putting out a manga in Roll Back by Kanetsu, with art and cover by Haruno Nakazata. Yet again, another thing about suicide, but after Yuka's suicide, her brother Asaharu is desperate for answers, and his guardian angel wants to help. This divine intervention may be closer to a deal with the devil, though. You have to kill Yuka's killer, she says. If you do that, I'll bring her back to life. Is he willing to bet his own life for a chance to save his sister? He may not like the answer that awaits him at the end of this twisted game. Oof, that's some heavy stuff right there. 236.
Right.
Yep, and Roll Back. It's like if Do a Powerbomb was a lot more serious. Oh boy. All right, moving on a little bit further into the book, past American mythology, and onward to the Calvin and Hobbes Portable Compendium, Volume 2, softcover by the one and only Bill Watterson. It's some classic Calvin and Hobbes action for you, available in a nice softcover form. Anybody who's a fan of Calvin and Hobbes or wants to pass it on to the next generation, this might be a good place to do it on page 244.
Could we go back to page 240 for just a quick sec here?
Yes, you most definitely can. Here we are.
Shout out one thing from American mythology, and that's that the Three Stooges are turning 100 this year.
Wow.
Yep, I guess we're dating back to when they first joined up with Ted Healy as his Stooges, but I don't think they were making movies or shorts or two-reelers in 1924. But anyway, to celebrate, they're doing this Three Stooges Centennial one-shot featuring, among other things, a story written by Curly's grandson.
Oh, nice. Very cool. Curly G.
Yuck.
Nice. Very
okay.
Congratulations to the Stooges. And one for me on page 245, Matzoh Man to the rescue. In this comedic graphic novel, a self-appointed superhero journeys around the world solving last-minute Passover Seder emergencies and spotlighting a variety of holiday traditions. It's Passover Eve, and Matzoh Man is ready to answer the call. All across the world, families are preparing for their Seders, but oh no! There's an emergency! The cat has stolen the shank bone! Passover is ruined! I'm so happy right now. Eric Kimmel, thank you. Thank you very much for Matzoh Man to the rescue. This is what we needed out of Apples and Honey Press on page 245. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Holiday-themed fun. I love it.
Abso-frickin-lutely. B&V Friends Forever Sleepovers. Betty and Veronica. 250. It's Betty. It's Veronica. They're having sleepovers. Yeah.
And Sabrina's there, and she's doing magic.
Yep. And it's Dan Parent on the scripting and the artwork, along with Bob Smith, and, of course, my favorite creator, Various. Page 250. AWA brings us Little Black Book, issue 1 of 4, by Jeff McComsey and Felipe Cunha. Don't miss the start of this hard-boiled neo-Western thriller. In this explosive new thriller by writer Jeff McComsey, a straight-arrow handyman finds himself in the crosshairs of a ruthless crime syndicate along with his pregnant wife. And what is the meaning of the little black book of underworld contacts Cole's deceased father had hidden in his home? Cole's father believed the best thing he could do for his son was stay out of his life. But does the apple fall far from the tree?
All under a pulp-heavy cover by Francesco Francavilla.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Little Black Book, 4-issue miniseries beginning on page 260. J. Michael Straczynski's The Madness gets a trade paperback collection, penciled by ACO, on page 263. So if you were waiting to check this one out, it is now available for you. Scott McDaniel. Haven't seen that name in a little bit. Page 265, he's got a new book called IT, The Secret World of Modern Banking. This is a trade paperback, so this is actually a collection of a previously mini-series book. But bank information technology expert Evan Adonis works at the nexus of the bank's communications and data networks, discovering executive corruption, lies, and abuse. Adonis suffers threats and retaliation. In the eternally corrupt world of modern banking, the IT expert is both the most powerful asset and the most hunted liability.
Yep. McDaniel both writes and draws this thing.
Yep. And a little bit of a James Bond take on the IT guy. Why not? Page 265. The Land Left Behind by Joseph Hubler. Days into the expedition, the caravan of knights of the Charging Steer Company find themselves transported into a strange, unknown land. Perhaps some kind of land of the lost. I don't know. Stranded and alone, they must fight for survival against prehistoric beasts and the land itself as they learn that they are not the top of the food chain anymore.
Okay, so knights versus dinosaurs.
Basically, yep. And that is a concept that I am all about. 67. Heading down to 275, Marguerite versus the Occupation one-shot. John Luzar on the writing and Casey Quevedo on the artwork. August 1944, 4 years after the Nazis invaded France during World War II, 17-year-old Marguerite returns to her childhood home, only to find a German machine gun crew occupying the bombed-out remains of her bedroom, preventing her home and room, perverting her home and room that once brought her joy and wonder. She's about to take her home back. Man, this is some Tarantino-type action right here on page 275.
Yeah.
Yep. Taking it back by force, one way or the other. Marguerite versus the Occupation. Fascinating. Moving down a little further, 278, we go to Armored by Michael Schwartz and Ismael Hernandez. Orphan teen Andy's parents disappeared mysteriously. Now he's just been adopted by a quaint family living in the countryside. What could go wrong? Yeah, those are words that you never want to hear. What could go wrong? Because everything could usually go wrong in situations like this. It's a brilliantly in both modeling and storytelling, according to industry titan Frank Quitely. That's some good praise right there. But it looks like you've got some night action, some zombie action while you're at it. This is going to be a lot. Page 278. Here's a good one for you. Page 282, The First Americans by Christopher Rita and Tad Galusha. At the end of the Ice Age, 14,000 years ago and on the verge of starvation, a tribe of Paleo-Indians travel across the Bering Land Bridge from Siberia into North America to hunt as elusive packs of mammoths. But when they fail to hunt down the beasts, the tribe must adapt to their new surroundings before becoming extinct in this new land. Certainly the First Americans.
Yep. It's a great idea for a comic series, and this one's going to be 8 issues long.
Absolutely.
Pretty ambitious, and this first issue is 44 pages for a mere $4.99.
That is more like it out of Critical Entertainment LLC. Once again on page 282. Duck and Moose. Volume 1 and 2. It's a duck. It's a moose. Disney Hyperion. And I'm mentioning it for that exact reason. Page 284. Further down there, though, by the way, some more cyberpunk. Gleam graphic novel by Freddie Carrasco. It's imbued with cyberpunk attitude and in the rebellious tradition of Afrofuturism. Gleam is drawn with a fierce momentum hurtling towards a future world. Carrasco's distinct cinematic style layers detailed panels and spreads, creating a multiplicity of perspectives at once dizzying and hypnotic. Vignettes unspool in proximity to our own social realities and expand into the outer layers of possibility. Gleam graphic novel. For any of you fans of Afrofuturism, this will be for you on page 284.
And on page 285, something interesting here, Winnie the Pooh hardcover. Yeah, the classic stories of A.A. Milne being adapted into comics form for the first time.
Wow.
Since passing into public domain a few years ago, from writer-artist Travis Dandro.
Very cool.
So if you're a fan of classic pre-Disney Pooh, definitely give that a look.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep, that's what you can do. That it's in public domain. You want to make a horror movie, make a horror movie. You want to collect the original works, collect the original works. Now Tigger's in the public domain, so they can make a sequel to that horror movie. And they're gonna.
Are they? I kind of thought that the creators of that movie regretted it just because it's...
Last I heard, they were thinking about doing that sequel now that Tigger's in the public domain. So it may happen, whether we want it or whether anybody wants it or not.
Maybe it was the Steamboat Willie horror movie that they were balking at doing.
That's a possibility. Yes, that is a high possibility. 288, got another Scott Snyder book, got another Francavilla book, White Boat, #1. New series debut from the acclaimed team behind Detective Comics and Night of the Ghoul. For fans of Hereditary, The Host, Jurassic Park, The Island of Dr. Moreau, this will be for you on page 288. White Boat.
You can read more about it on page 290.
I will. Here we are. Yep. White boats are the mega yachts that the super rich use to traverse the globe, floating islands where your every desire can be fulfilled. Getting invited on board one should be a dream come true until the crew traps and transports you to a remote island where secret cults have existed for millennia, working on something called the Human Project. Yeah.
Yeah, this ain't no pleasure cruise.
No, it is most definitely not the Love Boat. This ain't. This looks great. Nice white knuckle descent into Lovecraftian maritime madness, as they put it.
Yep, with Francavilla interiors. That's
Oh,
hard
yeah.
to resist.
You better believe it. Yep. This is out of Distillery, by the way. So this is the new hotness, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Spectrograph by James Tinian IV, also landing this month with Christian Ward on the art chores. Yep.
They're getting the creators for this distillery line.
You better believe it, yeah. For years, the mansion has sat strangely nestled into the coastline, just a short drive north of Los Angeles. Rumors have haunted the place for years. Its owner, a titan of American industry with a strange fascination into the occult and the paranormal. For decades, the richest men and women in the country have whispered to each other, trying to understand what he was building alone in that mansion for all these years. And now finally, with his death and his estate finally open for sale, they are eager to find out for themselves. Once you enter, you may never leave. Rosebud. Definitely like Citizen Kane to the horror extreme here with Spectrograph.
I'm going to say I didn't know that Citizen Kane died in the house on Haunted Hill.
Well, this is the untold story. That's what it is. Yeah. Yep. And that's 292, and then from Brian Azzarello and Eduardo Riso. My God, the creators they have for this line.
I'll say.
The Blood Brothers' Mother, #1. In the Old West, 3 children set off across the wild Texas frontier to rescue their mother. Throughout their journey, they'll face the harsh elements of an unforgiving landscape, deadly animals hungry for blood, merciless bounty hunters, and so much more, all in a relentless quest to rescue their family. The Blood Brothers' Mother, page 294. And then Gone #3 by Jock. So yeah, Jock's series is already running 296, and you know, Becky Cloonan's got a distillery book running. It's a good pedigree. It's a good pedigree.
All right, on page 306, out of Fantagraphics. Okay, this is interesting thing they've undertaken here. They seem to have gotten the rights to reprint some old, like, 50s Marvel content. The Atlas Comics Library, they're calling it. This is the second in a series, and it's also the second volume of Venus comics that they're reprinting. It says here, in the late 1940s, the first half of the Venus series was published as a lighthearted romance comic about the goddess Venus taking a job at a beauty magazine. Soon, science fiction elements were introduced, and eventually Venus's dating adventures turned into straight-out horror.
Wow.
Collected here for the first time ever is that swift-changing second half of the 19-issue run of Venus. Future Marvel stars Bill Everett and Werner Roth seize the opportunity, creating 20 ghoulish masterpieces. So,
wow.
Yeah. Want to see what Marvel was doing? You know, this is the roots of the 50s Avengers here, folks. This is what they were doing before, you know, the Marvel Universe as we know it came to be.
Wow. This is like reminiscent of there's a system in Japan where they rate manga that comes in, and if a manga is not doing well enough, they have 2 options: either cancel the manga or try to pivot it into another genre. And I immediately think of Bleach when I think of that, and this is similar to what happened here with Atlas Comics. Like, Bleach started off almost as a straight horror manga, and when the numbers weren't coming in well enough, they were like, let's make it horror, but also Dragon Ball Z. Like, let's just straight up turn it into a battle manga. And then Bleach ran for like 100 years, and that was the end of that story. So, yeah,
apparently,
yeah, exactly. So this is wow. just the idea of a romance comic that becomes a horror comic. That's pretty great.
Sadly, most things became horror comics at a certain point in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even the original Captain Marvel started to show, you know, horror elements there towards the end.
Boy, geez. On that same page, by the way, we'll point out Love and Rockets, the sketchbooks by the Hernandezes. So if you want some of the behind-the-scenes sketches of Love and Rockets, they are available to you right there, also on page 306. Walt Disney's Uncle Scrooge Worldwide Witch Disney Masters Volume 24, available on page 308. Further adventures into the Uncle Scrooge library, for anybody looking to check it out. And then on page 309, we have Asgardians Volume 1, Odin graphic novel by George O'Connor. Following the smash hit Olympian series, George O'Connor embarks on a new saga about the Norse gods. Welcome to the 9 worlds, home of gods, Valkyries, dwarves, Jotnar, and moral travel, the burning rainbow bridge to Asgard, where Odin, chief of the Asnir, surveys his realm. So this one's going to be mostly about Odin, and you'll get some more Norse god action for you on page 309. 318, Dav Pilkey, Dogman Volume 12, The Scarlet Shedder graphic novel. The Dogman books are always fun to me. This one looks like a straight take on like Ninja Turtles, so yeah, I'm down. The Scarlet Shedder.
In this one, Dogman gets sprayed by a skunk and dunked in tomato juice, hence the scarlet tint mentioned in the title.
Yep. On that same page, by the way, we get a Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur Wreck and Roll original graphic novel written by Stephanie Williams with art by Asia Simone. So this is a Scholastic original graphic novel done in the style of the hit animated series, which will be returning for its second season in a couple weeks. And I am looking forward to it because Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur is absolutely fantastic. And it has the Beyonder in it. So enough said. Played by Lawrence Fishburne.
Wouldn't have expected either of those things.
Yep. She's yet to teach him how to pee, but, you never know.
Secret Wars 2 reference, folks.
Oh, yeah. Dark Shadows, the complete newspaper strips. I never knew there were Dark Shadows complete newspaper strips, and yet here they are, so go figure.
Yeah, read all of them from 1971 through 1972, exactly 1 year's worth.
Mm-hmm. Yep. By Ken Bald on page 320. So, any of you who are fans of the long-standing Dark Shadows series,
Pants is one.
Yeah. Hey, Pants. Hey, Pants. You listening? Buy it.
Buy this thing.
made for pets. Fantastic. I Am Legion Deluxe Oversized Edition out of Humanoids by Fabian Nuri and John Cassaday. Enough said on that one. Page 322. You don't get a lot of Cassaday artwork these days. And this one is a oversized deluxe edition of their previous miniseries. All about, it's set in 1940s Europe. Who is the young Romanian girl whose supernatural powers are being used by the Nazis? You got me there, right there, with that description. 322, and the Cassaday artwork is perfect.
Yep. World War II action meets vampire apocalypse. It's and yes, as Ian has said, the artwork is just stunning.
It really is. Yep.
We all know what Cassaday can do.
Absolutely. And Jerry Frisson Starcross gets a trade paperback collection on page 327 as well. 112 pages of sci-fi romance action set in space.
Oh yeah, the bottom of page 335 from Keen Spot Entertainment. This is an interesting sounding concept. The Dust Pirates. It's about a pair of genuine 1790s buccaneers who are abducted to an alien desert planet to help fight in a revolution.
Interesting.
It's got kind of a fun, 80s action comedy B-movie quality to it.
Please, I feel like I watched this series on Channel 11 on a Sunday morning. Like it would have fit right in there with Cleopatra 7575. Like it's absolutely that realm of stuff. Oh my God. Was it Cleopatra 20? It was Cleopatra 2525. That's what it was. Okay.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. Knew it was one of them numbers. The Mushroom Knight, Volume 1, on page 344.
Ooh, yes, this one was on my list. Yeah, it's, well, for one thing, just as you're drawn to things that are set in New York, Ian, this one is a Philadelphia story.
There you go.
It's written and drawn by creator Oliver Bly, who is an expat Philadelphian living out in Washington State right now. And it's set in the Wissahickon Woods to the northwest of Philadelphia. It's about a teenage girl who's looking for her lost dog in said woods and stumbles into a fairyland populated by animal people and mushroom folk. So it's myth, mirth, and mycology all in a glorious, colorful collision, and it's set outside of Philadelphia. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be buying Volume 1 of this.
Excellent. I love that. David the Gnome meets David Lynch.
That's a great elevator pitch there.
Absolutely.
You remember David the Gnome, Ian?
I've heard of it. I don't know if I've actually ever experienced it.
Yeah, it was on Nickelodeon for a little while there in the late 80s.
Yes, I just saw a picture of it. Yes. I 100% watched this accidentally a couple of times when I was flipping the channels. Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yep. Title character voiced by Tom Bosley, if I'm remembering correctly.
You are absolutely right about that, because I remember him writing that fox. Yep. Ah, man. Wow. Talk about like a blind spot in my brain that just reopened. Thank you, Murd.
Fun when those things open up, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Steve Orlando on page 348 brings us Silver Vessels. After seeing a news segment that lost treasure off the coast of Florida, Josh Friedman can't get it out of his mind. Josh convinces his parents to let him and two of his friends spend the summer in the Keys in order to track down the missing treasure of Our Lady of Atoka, a missing galleon which sank in 1622. But the trio of teens get more than they bargained for in their treasure hunt when the Apex, a group of elite treasure hunters, appear and offer their assistance. Are these shark-headed elite really all they claim to be, or are they just as dangerous as the treasure they seek? Orlando's crafted a good one here, I can tell. 348.
Yep. Sounds like good summer reading for any young would-be treasure hunters in your lives.
Mm-hmm. Yep. These shark people also have very strong Court of Owls vibes, and I'm not. That's bad enough to begin with.
Yeah. Good call, Ian. It's like, Court of Owls meets Terrible Trio.
Yes, indeed. Yep. Then 351, artwork alone, Between Snow and Wolf, written by Agnes Demergue, illustrated by Helen Koenig. Wow. Inspired by classic Japanese fairy tales, Between Snow and Wolf is a tale for young girls who seem to grow up too fast in the eyes of their parents. Braving the world and facing your fears are lessons that never grow old, mixing humor and drama in a lushly illustrated presentation. This book embraces the influence of Miyazaki, not just in its kawaii, cute character design, but in the magical setting the characters find herself in. Yeah, this looks stunning. It really does. Love that artwork. Once again on page 351.
Leading off the Oni section this month on page 355 and 354 and 355. The universe you never knew you wanted because you probably didn't. The Nacelle-verse.
Oh my god.
Kicking off with a number 0 one-shot. It's Roboforce. Biker from Mice from Mars.
No. Yeah, let's just get rid of that from. Let's get rid of that from. Let's actually edit our shit next time, please, and make sure that's not there. Continue.
Yes, Sectars, Power Lords, the Great Garlu, and many more.
Oh my god. What the hell?
Random toy and cartoon properties that just happen to be owned by the same company. They're all going to share a universe coming out from Oni Comics in 2024.
Why the heck not? Wow. Oh my god. In partnership with the Nacelle Company, Oni Press is proud to present a comics milestone, 3 decades in the making, sure, as a new universe of toy and animation icons rockets into action from blockbuster writer Melissa Flores of Power Rangers and The Dead Lucky, and artistic powerhouse Diogenes. I always get that name wrong. Is it Dionysus?
Diogenes Neves.
Thank you. Diogenes Neves, Realm of X and Suicide Squad, and Francis Portela of Green Lantern and Faith, and more. So there's good pedigree behind this. I just don't know who's actually clamoring for this.
Who is this for is exactly the question we should all be asking right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are some people listening who are raising their hands and proudly declaring, I am. This is for me. But, yeah.
Oh, man. Remind me to ask Shane what he thinks about this.
He's just going to be shaking his head, too, I think. All of these properties are probably a little bit after his time.
Yeah.
He just knows they're barely in my time.
Man.
I can remember Biker Mice from Mars existing, but I certainly never watched it. And, yeah, Sectars, Power Lords is a little earlier. I think that's like early 80s. I don't even know what the hell the Great Garlu is. But...
Biker Mice from Mars, first episode aired in 1993.
Yeah, I was 14, so
Yep.
a little too old for it, I'm thinking.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember hearing about it. I don't remember actually sitting down and watching it, but I remember hearing about it and thinking to myself, "That's the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles alternative they could come up with." Biker mice from Mars. Okay, sure, but I mean, the Diodato variant cover is really pretty. Hey,
That is, I will give them that.
yeah, more power to you guys. You know, like Oni came on some hard times not too long ago, and this is something I would have never expected. Not that I was expecting it, period, but like it's them trying to have a universe, and more power to them on that. So we'll see.
Yes, we will.
Oh my God, wow! And then for something completely different,
Yeah.
Whiplash. Page 356. Night People, 4-issue miniseries. Barry Gifford and Chris Condon. Art by Brian Level. Cover by J.H. Williams III, for that matter. From literary icon Barry Gifford, internationally renowned creator of Wild at Heart, and co-writer of David Lynch's, there's David Lynch again, neo-noir masterpiece Lost Highway. Night People is a pulsating roadmap of the American subconscious, where neon-lit southern nights give way to lipstick, sweat, and blood, and the odd, innocent, and evil are all fellow travelers down an interstate of dark, elusive dreams. I feel like I just read a Twilight Zone narrative, but that's fascinating. Yeah. Oh, man. All right. Worth a shot. 356. Then Rick and Morty Kingdom Balls, #1 of 4. Josh Trujillo, Ryan Little, and Jarrett Williams. Kingdom Balls.
Yeah, it's a title you just want to say over and over again.
Yeah, although the soft cover for Rick and Morty Heart of Rickness has the best cover. That's fantastic.
Tribute there. And then Rick and Morty Spring Break Special on page 361.
Of course.
Kicking ass and keeping it real at Spring Break.
Yep, with James Asmus doing the writing chores along with Jim Festante. Wubba lubba dub dub, 361.
Yes. I am in great pain. Please help me.
Yeah. This has the best title, though, 363. I feel awful. Thanks. Laura Pickle.
That's the Chris theme today. That's
Yes. A lushly illustrated debut graphic novel that explores the heartfelt journey of self-acceptance in a complex world of swirling emotions and powerful potions. So I get some further witchcraft here, and that's some really fun artwork to accompany it on the preview pages there. 363. Doctor Who magazine number 600 has itself a bumper celebration issue. Congratulations on 600 issues of Doctor Who magazine. That is an achievement in and of itself, whether you're a magazine or anything else. So here's to you, Doctor Who magazine, for hitting that milestone. Yep.
Well, and below it, from Paper Cuts, we've got their 20th Loud House graphic novel. This one for something different, featuring stories featuring nothing but supporting characters. No member of the Loud House appears. It's just all supporting cast.
Okay. Old school military comics on 369. PS Art Book Military Comics Softy Volumes 3 by Bob Powell and Various. Collects Quality Comics, Military Comics issues 21 through 23. That is 3 issues, if they put that solicitation correctly, in a soft cover format that's 204 pages. So that's a lot for 3 issues right there.
Well, yeah, Golden Age comics were a little bit longer than they are nowadays.
Oh, you better believe it. Yep, absolutely.
Magazine-size anthologies, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Once again, that was 369 for that. Alex Segura's The Dusk gets a trade paperback treatment on page 376.
Yep. And it's simultaneously being published as individual issues, wouldn't you know?
Yeah, how about that? Very cool.
Yep, this was one of those things that got its start as a Kickstarter project and is now being published by Scout.
Mm-hmm.
From David Hahn, the artist, was also the artist on Carl Kiesel's Impossible Jones.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and this looks like some nice old-fashioned superhero action. Blackstone, a city whose history dates back to the earliest days of our nation. Below its abandoned skyscrapers and crumbling colonial architecture, beneath the buzzing lights and ragged billboards, the metropolis is propped up by corruption and fear. Blackstone public defender Jaime Nunez, former baseball hero, now a divorced dad, is always trying to do his best. But the criminal justice system is not without limits. When Jaime comes into an unexpected fortune and some surprising superheroic tools, he discovers there might be another, more direct way to do some actual good in the world. Enter the dusk. Always helps when you inherit like assloads of money to become a superhero.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you can get rid of that superstitious and cowardly lot. 381. This is interesting. Brent Larson brings us Kalis, number 1. In 1967, the CIA sent astronauts into space to investigate an astronomical anomaly. Unfortunately, before they could report their findings, they mysteriously had vanished, never to be seen again. That is until today, when one of those long missing astronauts, Scott Anders, crashes to Earth and emerges powerful, totally unscathed, and hellbent on one purpose: to return to where he has been for all those decades. But where has he been? How did he gain his new invulnerability? What is the mysterious organization that stands in his way, determined to protect the secret of Kalis at all costs? The answers to these mysteries start here. That is a fascinating concept right there out of Silverline Comics. Kalis, number 1. Kind of has like an Adam Strange meets Superman bent on it, with some X-Files thrown in for good measure. Really, really interesting. Page 381. And here we are with Tomorrow's. Mm-hmm. Now we get to see what Mr. Eberly was talking about with the Jack Kirby collector and back issue and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Dreams and nightmares is the theme.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Neil Gaiman's The Sandman, plus Sandman Mystery Theater, Matt Wagner and Stephen T. Siegel's Doctor Strange, Nemesis Nightmare, Sleepwalker, baby. Come on. Why not? Throw them in there for good measure. And a whole bunch of others. So well worth checking out. And then the Jack Kirby collector. This is a What If Kirby issue, which takes a trip through alternate timelines to discern what might have happened if Jack hadn't been stopped cold in his attempts at revolutionizing comics. We'll consider his ill-fated Speak Out series of upscale magazines, DC's abandonment of the Fourth World in his original rejected Spider-Man presentation, Frederick Wortham's effect on mainline comics, and even the CIA's involvement with the Lord of Light project.
I think that's that Argo thing, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. Yep, that is exactly what it is. Had things been different, how would Jack's career and output have changed? Fascinating. It's a fan of alternate realities and what ifs. That's right up my alley right there.
Yeah.
That's Jack Kirby Collector number 90 on page 384. And then for you, Murd, Groovy, When Flower Power Bloomed in Pop Culture.
Yep, I have been the proud owner of a copy of that for 4 or 5 years now.
Excellent. Well, here it is, resolicited and republished on page 385. All right, anything before manga, sir?
Oh, yeah, I think you're going to want to stop at page 391, right there.
Hey, yes, I am, actually.
So here we've got a 112-page long trade paperback called Whiff Wolf. Concept created by Dalen Ogden, but written by the superstar writing tandem of Lansing and Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
with art by the aforementioned Dale and Ogden. Whiff Wolf is an original folklore myth telling the story of Charity Bjornsdottir, a young woman in 1860s Montana who spends her days in the woods with her closest friend, a local wolf, whom she calls the Silver Slash. Charity is soon to meet the most handsome man in her small village. As her husband isolates her from Silver Slash, she begins to feel a call to the wilds, for it is there that her true destiny awaits. Whiff Wolf is the harrowing tale of a woman forcibly separated from that which makes her feel alive, a reinterpretation of the classic werewolf myth, and the origin story of a new goddess.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, I'm adding that to my list, definitely. 391. Always good to see anything Kelly and Lanzing, and this is definitely something quite different.
Yeah, you see, it's these solicitations always, they write a good check, but you need to look to the creative team blank to see if they're going to be able to cash it.
Oh, you better believe it.
In this case, we know that there are funds in the account for what the solicitation promises.
Yep. Well, 392 has two things that I need to point out. Number one, Workman Publishing. There are dads way worse than you. Following up on the success of Glenn Boozman's viral gift book, There Are Moms Way Worse Than You, the Dad's Companion book sets out to prove that to dads over the world that however bad they think they are at parenting, there are dads way worse. And having Darth Vader be on the cover there with Luke's hand is certainly a way to get that across.
Yes. Both of them awkwardly staring down at it, lying on the floor between them.
Yep, absolutely. And then, out of Zombie Love Studios, quite literally the last thing before manga, page 392, Blackula, Return of the King, by Rodney Barnes and Jason Sean Alexander. I only hunt Blackulas.
Jefferson Twilight. Man, Ian, thank you for loaning me Radiant is the Blood of the Baboon Heart, because
My
seeing
pleasure.
Jefferson Twilight actually fighting some Blackulas, it's everything you promised it would be.
Oh, hell yeah, hell yeah. That and more, my friend. Glad you enjoyed it. But in Los Angeles, a city once terrorized by vampires, it took decades to heal from the horror inflicted upon it. Now, as mysterious killings begin anew in the City of Angels, a young reporter named Tina Thomas, good alliteration there, finds herself on the trail of the creature she believes responsible for this newfound carnage. In doing so, she meets a lost soul named Cross, with a K, whose life was forever shattered by the very person Tina is searching for. Together, they seek to stop these murders and put an end to the nightmare plaguing L.A. by killing Blackula. Yeah, this looks like awesome.
This is the classic blaxploitation film character, and it's by the creative team that's been doing Philadelphia from Image, which is another vampire narrative for 3 or so years now. So it's quality. I mean, I actually have a copy already. This is like a resolicitation.
Oh, very nice, very nice, excellent. Well, let me know what you think about it, man, because that sounds right up my alley.
Will do.
Excellent. Okay, so let's start off with the creepy, shall we, on page 405. Stitches. Short stories by Hirokatsu Kihara with art by Junji Ito. A tumor shaped like a man's face slowly moves across a woman's body. The sea shoots glowing balls into the sky, much to the distress of vacationers. And a girl dressed up for the holiday has no eyes, no nose, nothing. Her face is a total blank. Hirokatsu Kiharu presents true stories of unsolved mysteries, stitched together with page after page of Junji Ito's original illustrations in this collection of 9 eerie tales and a bonus manga story. Talk about creepy. Page 405.
Yep, disturbing stuff.
Yeah, the face tumor is what gets me. That's no.
Yes, a tumor on her face that is also a face itself.
Exactly. A face within a face within a face. Let's find something else here in manga, and then I will call it a night. Let's see. Okay, out of Kodansha. Ado, Volume 1, graphic novel by Amano Jaku on page 423. A brash young woman and a boy with a mysterious arm, those are words that are fascinating, search for answers while evading military assassins in this dystopian sci-fi action manga. Dystopian all over the place. Perfect for fans of Akira and Sakamoto days. Following a wave of immigration, Japan has become a volatile mix of people and cultures rocked by the protests of xenophobic extremists unhappy with the new status quo. A brash, job-hopping young woman named Riko is driving her scooter through one such protest when she sees a boy about to get run over by a truck. Riko just manages to shove him out of the way, and in the hours that follow, she takes Elito out for a bowl of ramen. Just as they're about to dig in, Elito is fired upon by a distant army sniper. As the bullet pierces the restaurant window and comes whizzing towards him, plant-like tendrils snake out from his arm and stop it in mid-flight. Who in the world is this boy, and why is the army after him? Probably because he has a plant for an arm, but that's interesting stuff right there. And Ado Volume 1 on page 423. And I believe that is a bolt shot for me. You have anything in the toy section?
I have one thing in the merch section that I will call to the listeners' attention just because it's something I actually plan to buy.
Okay.
It's on page 43.
Okay.
At the back of the book.
All right, let me see if I can just scroll this way to make my life easier. There we are. Oh, almost had it. Well, whatever. I'll just go from here. 42. Oh, hey, Christmas. Hold on. M33. That is a very nice.
It's like
Christmas.
a Stormtrooper ugly sweater T-shirt.
Yes, very happy with that Stormtrooper ugly sweater T-shirt on page M33. Okay, here we are. 42 coming up, and 42 we are here. Okay.
A little further.
Okay.
There we go.
Haha.
A Man-Thing Toon Tumbler.
Yes.
This is not new. I think this is being, yes, it says item has been previously solicited, but I missed it, so I want this one for my collection.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And since we're on this page anyway, we could scroll down to the bottom of the page. There's a couple other things, too. You got a nice Morbius action figure there, which comes with his own laboratory playset, $85, and next to him, a beautiful Masters of the Universe Man-E-Faces statue. $5 action figure to $190 deluxe statue.
Oh my God, that's fantastic! And that Hulk, that gray Hulk Toon Tumbler also is quite good with the classic image of Hulk breaking through his own name. That's good stuff.
Whose art is that? Do you think
I think it's McFarlane, if I remember correctly.
All right.
Yeah, because I think that was from the time that McFarlane was working on Hulk with Peter David. Yep. I wanted to point out, just because we were passing by it real quick, M40, these DC Heroes, Batman and Superman 1/8 scale PVC statues are absolutely gorgeous. And if I had the money to buy them, I would be buying them, but instead I'm not going to, but someone with the money to enjoy.
Yeah. I agree. Well designed and great, three-dimensional rendering of those capes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And with that, bolt shot.
Bolt shot.
Fantastic. This was actually a really good previews. I think there's a bunch of good comics coming out to start the year off right, solicitation wise. So I think this worked out pretty damn well. So good times.
Yep. It took us nearly 3.5 hours to get through it all. That's how good it was.
Yes, indeed. Yep. And it only felt like 2.5. So then it must be good.
Flew by.
Yep. All right. Well, once again, as usual, you listeners, patreon.com/comicgeekspeak, keep this fun happening. And we thank you so much for all that support that you give. For as little as $1 a month, you can go ahead and join up there. And we thank you. And here's to another year of support from you guys over at patreon.com/comicgeekspeak. And with that, let me make sure I'm potted up, and I am. So go ahead and be Shane, sir. The floor is yours.
I shall be Shane. If you'd like to send us an email, our address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. You can also leave us a voicemail by calling 267-702-6642. We'd love to hear your voice in our ears. If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, our handle there is @comicgeekspeak. We also have a presence on Blue Sky, thanks to our webmaster Ian. You can go to Facebook, where you can join our Comic Geek Speak supergroup, where you can talk back about all the various episodes of the podcast that we've released recently, and also just start conversation threads with your fellow listeners and fans about any geeky topic you like. You can also go to thecomicforums.vanillacommunity.com, our original forum, where you can do pretty much the same thing I just mentioned. You can go to youtube.com/comicgeekspeak, where you can watch video versions of all of our episodes, even more so now that Ian is linked in that RSS feed. It's especially helpful when we're doing these previews type episodes, so you can watch the very pages of the catalog feed past. Scroll down in front of your eyes. You can see what we're seeing as we review the various upcoming releases to your joy and delight. We give special thanks, as always, to all of you who have donated monetarily to the show, either recently or in the distant past, because the show would not be what it is today without your assistance. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.
Biker mice from Mars?